He hooks himself back in. They want it. Kizzy's not able. It's a pentakill.
Second, they'll find a second. Chippies is on an absolute tear right now.
Welcome back. Two last teams have to face off tonight for our week 3 in the LCO. It's going to be Direwolves up against Pentanet. So let's just get on chatting about these two, because we had Poltron sitting on this couch yesterday and he was dishing out all the info. He said this matchup 100% on draft De Jong.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like these teams are just so similar, right? In skill level, right? They both are very good teams, and I really feel like it can go both ways.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to say.
Yeah, well, let's have a closer look at this Direwolves roster, because we said some things at the start of this broadcast, Fido, about how you think they're very, I don't know if you said the word basic, but I'm going to put that word in your mouth. That's pretty much what you said about this Direwolves roster.
I think standard is a better word. I'm not disrespecting. They just play good League of Legends. You know, they play the rotations, they play the numbers, they don't take risks where they don't have to. And I think PGG is very similar in that respect.
Okay, so again, echoing the sentiment of that they are both mechanically very similar. When it comes to draft then, Skim, what do you think are the biggest determining factors of champion pool?
100% the top lane is going to be where all the curveballs, in my mind at least, will be. We know that Zoranus will literally play anything, and we know that Chippies wants to always get that last pick to try and, you know, upset the odds. So I'm looking, especially at the top lane, to try and flex their ability. We obviously know how good Chippies is when given those resources, like that Gwen game when they were down so much gold and tried to bring it back from the inevitable. But with that aside, I think you can't look past the rivalry, the sort of the fanship of Praetor into Violet. They've been fighting for so many years now.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, the go-to AD carries. Obviously, Raze came back and said, hold that L, I'm back. But like, you know, these two always go blow for blow, and it just makes it always for such an exciting match.
You have just reignited the deep-seated memories that I have about these two talking about each other, back the rivalry when obviously Praetor was on Pentanet and Violet was there over on Peace. So massive change up, big difference in terms of their teams that they're playing for. But the one thing that hasn't changed is Violet and Appy are going to be bot dueling. So we do have Appy returning. PGG aren't going to be playing with the sub. And do you think that this is going to elevate their performance, Dajong?
I mean, for sure, right? Appy is the one they've been scrimming with, I'm assuming, and the one they practice most with. Obviously, it's really hard to slot someone in, especially as sub, right? Like, who just has played professional in another role. So it's just two things that's trying to integrate at once. This is their main team, they're back at full strength, right? And I really expect them to really try to prove themselves this week, right? A lot of people expected a 2-0 last week from PGG. They lost the game to Ground Zero, and I really think they'll be hungry for this win.
So when you want them to prove themselves, it's more in the sense of they got a 2-0 to show and solidify that, hey, we're a top contender here. We're not going to be this middle of the pack team. We really are going to rival for that top #1 spot.
Yeah, like with this new system, this 2-0 really, really count, right? It's just such a big point difference when you get that 3 points for the 2-0. So I really think this is something they need right now.
I'm just personally really hoping that they don't draft game #1 with Lysandre. Lysandre, 0 wins. Every time game 1, it's not working, guys. Game 2, okay, let's stomp. So it's always the case, like in both their matches so far, it's like game 1, it is what it is, guys.
Trial
game
by
#2,
fire.
they walk outside, they splash their face, they go for a walk, they sing Kumbaya or whatever it may be, and they come back and I'm like, all right, boys. I'm going to press the buttons now.
That's their Spotify playlist. It's just Kumbaya.
100%.
I loved it. I love to hear it. I'm actually going to ask that question for our first interview. We've got Chaz from Direwolves joining us. Hey, Chaz. We've been joking. It's a bit of a run-of-the-mill joke for today about Spotify. What do you guys actually do for team bonding? Do you guys have like a joint playlist that you all like to listen to together?
I don't talk about music with my teammates very often. The only interaction I've had with my teammates about music-wise was I said that the song Big Papa by Biggie reminds me of Decoy, which was a complete cap. I was just lying to try and G him up for the game, but we don't really talk about music that much.
Okay, so then what is the team bonding exercise? Do you guys just do replays? Is it very stock standard things, or do you guys have other interests in common?
I think like every players different, like the way they want to interact with each other. Like I know my top laner likes just spamming random videos that he's found of Chinese players and just sends them to me all day and wants to talk about them all day. But I don't know, everyone just kind of chills around after scrims and talks, maybe plays some solo queue together. I don't really think we talk about too much outside of League of Legends. It's just a lot of League of Legends talk.
Yeah, that's very understandable. It makes sense considering what you guys do.
Yeah, so the Direwolves has a new jungler Shaka. You guys are still integrating him. How's that been in scrims, and how do you think you guys will perform today?
I think that we had a drastic change switching from our previous jungle, who's our coach now. I think that Shaka kind of fits a lot of the holes we have as a team, and he makes the way that we want to play the games a lot easier. So I think obviously we've played a lot less with him compared to Poltron, but he just fits really well. He's doing the job he needs to do, and it just fits really well. I think, you know, in terms of switching players mid-year, it's been pretty fantastic.
Do you think him coming on also helps some of the other members of your team, you or anyone else, be able to unlock more of a champion pool as well, that you can pick up certain champs that you might not have been able to do previously?
Yeah, I think, I guess obviously we can talk about it now, but I think we're having some champion pool issues in terms of we needed to pick jungle in the top 3 really consistently in previous drafts, compared to Shaka is really comfortable and can perform really well on a lot more champions. So it's not like before where it's oh, we're picking red side 3, we could get a counter pick into double ban or some type of shit like this. We have to pick jungle, otherwise he's just getting pinched.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of his champion pool, it's a lot deeper. He performs a lot better on more characters. So not necessarily oh, he plays AP jungle, so I can play Jace now. It's he just plays a lot more things that makes just stuff flexible in general.
Awesome. I really appreciate that insight, Chaz. We'll let you go for now. Get ready for the series. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
See ya, you too. Hey, we might just get him back on for another interview. I love it when people are oh, have a good night. I'm done and dusted with this chat now. I'm just
Come
do
back
what?
here, buddy.
Just do
Come
what? I might just get you
I
back in
have the
this
power.
broadcast. Yeah, I'm going to be Chaz will know one, actually.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Bring him back.
Oh, but it's nice to know that the change midway through the year, it's good for them. Do you think that midway through the year is one of the toughest places to have a roster change up for you guys, if you were to have a change up on your team?
I mean, if you're going to have a roster change up in general, right, the more time, the better to gel with the team.
Mhm.
But I think in general, it's the mid-season ones that are big, because I think the first season is where you know where your strengths are, where your weaknesses lie, what can cover that, what can you do to improve your team. And I think the mid-season acquisitions are the ones that try to fix that the most problems. So I think the split 2 teams in general are just always stronger, and we'll see how they perform today.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and you never really know what you're going to get with a roster change. It can go through a honeymoon period where you guys are just on the moon and you're playing really well.
You're 2-0ing everyone. It doesn't matter what you pick.
But you could also change a player and it just becomes a growth period, and maybe he's struggling under pressure and maybe he needs a few weeks to perform. So we'll just have to see what happens for Direwolves.
Yeah, I mean, with the questions that we did ask, they were saying that behind the scenes, at least in scrims, everything seems to be working well. There's this obviously new openness for champion pools, probably even communication as well. So that's really awesome to hear. PGG, though, they didn't really change up anything, so they don't have to work too much there. Do you think that that is now an advantage for them? Or are you with all of these other change-ups, they might not even place where they did last split?
It's curious for me because they didn't change anything, but then they did, right? By bringing in Foreigner, who is a jungler, right? So it kind of springs to mind that you know, it's just a conscious decision of them almost doing a Chiefs, where it's we're going to split time between different supports because you offer different things, but then you're an off-role player looking to try and pick up something new on a very top-rated team. So it's a big question mark for me. I mean, I'm just looking to try and do the pinball or whatever, trying to and this links to this, and that goes to that, and I'm still confused. So what does it all mean?
And anyway, they still have the same starting roster.
That's exactly it, right? And I think, obviously, Val and Appy have been together for such a long time as a duo, no matter what it may be it a bot lane together or, top laners and all the rest, right? So they've been through various iterations, so they would know each other out, fairly well. And I think that Appy's had a pretty good start to the split, all things considered. I think it's KD or something crazy, 40-0. He's only died once, which is always crazy for me when you're playing support. So
yeah,
very much like Biopen, for when you are the one to try and engage and you're not dying, I mean, you're just doing it so well.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal performance so far, but let's have a chat to their top laner, Chippies. We're going to get him on in here. Hey, Chippies, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
I want to know more about the red side, blue side argument, because we've had this conversation on the couch, and I know that you might swing a little bit differently viewpoint-wise on this sort of side priority that other people might have.
Nah, blue side's just better. There's too much broken stuff in the game.
Okay.
Like Nico, Emilio, champs like that, it's just crazy.
Okay, all right. That's very fair enough. When it comes to top lane matchups, though, are you pretty confident in this one? Is there even anyone in the LCO that might give you a little bit of nerves coming up against?
Nah, not really. I don't think there's anyone that's pretty good at laning because, you know, we scrim PCS in Vietnam, so I can get smashed by those guys. I don't need to get smashed here.
I love it. One region is enough, you know? I can't handle that
Yeah.
much more.
I mean, you mentioned you're scrimming the PCS teams in other regions, right? Are there any big meta differences or like power picks that you see there, not here? And like, is there anything you might bring out in today's game?
I'd say the main difference there's picks that work really well there that don't work in O's, like really strong early game champions. So you saw last split we basically just played early game comps and we weren't good enough to execute. So we're trying to find the balance of still learning from the PCS teams, but playing what works for us to win an O's as well.
What has been one of the biggest learnings that you've had then over this whole year when it comes to scrimming a number of regions, both inside OS and also outside of it?
Without overcomplicating it, don't just blindly copy teams that are beating you, just do what you're really good at.
I like it. I needed the dumbed down answer. I appreciate that one. But Chippies, I'll let you go. Good luck for today. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks guys, see ya.
See ya. I like it. He's like, without overcomplicating it. You kind of just had, it's inspiration.
You know what I'm waiting for is when you do the interview with Chippies and he hits you with a sub G. That's when you know they're just touring everybody. They've just won.
Is it?
He
That's
hits you with a sub G and it just sends goosebumps through.
Confidence.
Like, oh, the Kiwi powers.
It's like, you know, you know
he's
how like,
won, he's
people have
won.
like a tick when they're lying or something like that? A tell when they're lying? For Skimmy, it's a tell when you know he's going to
I hit a sub G and I'm like, alright.
It's over.
It's over.
Bang the credit card on the table. Bang, bang, bang. I'm all in. Bang, bang. Stefan vote.
All
Stefan
my
vote. Bang,
channel
bang.
points, all my channel points. Let's put them all in. But before we talk about where you want to put your channel points, you might want to know what sides each team selected. Let's get him up on our screen. He lied to me.
He's capping.
See, this is
Oh,
why
wow.
I asked him about this
It's
red
just
side.
the blue side's
No,
OP.
this is why I asked, right? Because last week the same thing happened. Max was sitting where you were sitting, Fido, and I was like, bro, what is happening? Why am I seeing PGG pick red side? And he's like, Chippies has full faith in it. I'm like, this is great. We have a Chippies interview. I'll ask him about this blue side, red side stuff. Nah, blue side, super OP. Pick comes up, red side.
Yeah, he tricked you, but the benefit of doing this,
Thanks. Yeah, he lied to you, bro. He bluffed. He bluffed.
the one benefit of this is that I know as a player, when you go in, you don't know until 2 o'clock, right, which
Yeah.
side the enemy team chose. But if you already know that they're going to choose blue and you know that you're going to choose red, you can prepare just red drafts, right? Whereas they
Yeah.
have to do it on the fly. So
That's true.
could be a bit of a curveball there from PGG.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and that actually has some really good logic towards it.
Mm.
That it really has, especially because one of the reasons Max is saying it is because Chippies is really confident with what his hero pool is on that top side, what he can do in lane, and he even talked about how he thinks no one rivals his laning phase in his early game.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think definitely there are times where blue side or red side is better, but I think it's also depending on the team, right? Depending on what you want, what can you get from each side that helps you as a team, right? And I think if they're really confident in choosing red side, they get 2 games of it. The other team gets 2 blue side games of it. I think it will just show us the best of both worlds for both teams. I think it will be a great match.
And they might just need one game warming up on red side. But Defan, vote up in that corner. You guys can put all your channel points in there if you think Chippies is right and blue side's OP, then go for Direwolves. But if you think Chippies is right in that they picked red side, then go for Pentanet.
Chippies is always right.
Chippies is always right. That's what I've learned here. So far, myself, Max, Skim, Rusty, we went for the 1-1 here, even though they're going to be playing back-to-back on red side. Fido.
Oh, big Fido. Look at you go, mate.
Spicing it up, guys. I mean, my logic is I just have too much respect for Schönfire. I think Schönfire, in my opinion, by far the best jungle in the league. He just plays very good cerebral League of Legends. Every time the enemy jungle shows, he knows where to be. He doesn't waste time, and time is money. So, Schönfire, please.
Yeah,
Don't let me down.
He's squeezing every last cent out of every second that exists in this game. And we're going to do the same for our entertainment as Champ Select is ready.
Beautiful. Well, let's crack on then with our second series of the night and see what this absolute banger has in store for us. Direwolves up against PGG, a chance for both heavyweights really to showcase just how strong they are. at this midway point of the season.
Yeah, and Pentanet taking out the Milio, the Yumi. We see this Vi ban every single game. Now, I can tell you yesterday we played with Vi, we lost, and then Vertex played with Vi and lost. So I'm not convinced by this Vi ban in the first stage, but it seems like a lot of teams are doing it.
Is it a case of, you know what it's capable of and you just don't want to deal with it, even if it does pop off, or in some cases, it does go 0-8 and you're thinking, well, it's not a non-factor. I mean, ultimately, it's still cropping up, as you say. It is going to be complemented with a Nico ban as well, and then PGG have the final pick to decide, okay, what is it that we cannot allow Direwolves to first pick? Would they go even as far as saying deny the Gragas?
Could be the Gragas, could be the Zeri. Surprising to ban Nico on blue side. I think by most teams, Nico is considered the S tier of the S tier. This is a champion, the flex 3 rolls. They banned the LeBlanc. Okay, so we've got the Annie first pick. Right. Okay, Zeri is still open. There's no good pairings with Zeri. There's no Yumi. There is still the Lulu. You can always play like a Zeri Nautilus. It's not locked into just an Enchanter. Let's see what Pentanet go for. Probably jungle mid here as well, or jungle AD.
See what they're going to hover right now, deliberating on their decision for a fair bit of time. They ultimately say, Zeri is up and available, but we will not fall victim to this one. Maybe anticipating a Annie Wukong as a very early lock-in here for Direwolves. They want a little bit more protection, a little bit more peel, a little bit more insurance that they can just do what has been traditionally PGG's mantra, mechanics max.
Yeah, interesting. They're going to drop top or mid to the second phase. Interesting decision. A lot of the times you'll see on red side at the moment, support gets the third pick because things like the Nautilus get blind picked and you get the opportunity to pick Braum into it. We've got the Annie Wukong. We've already seen Wukong today.
Yep.
Looked pretty good on both sides. But they're going to lock in the Jinx. Okay, so they're playing to outrange the Xayah. It's another hyper carry, definitely a Praedyth classic. We've seen him play this champion a lot in finals, in playoffs, wherever, and the Wukong makes sense. 3 sort of power picks. Now, I will say Jinx did get nerfed on 13-11, I think, so we've seen her fall out of favor a little bit. Let's see what the third pick will be. Can definitely be a mid pick. Chaz's pool will get pinched if they drop him. Is it going to be the Earl in Soul? Definitely something that Chaz fits him. Push the wave, move away, scale to late game. He's had a lot of success on this champion in the past.
Yeah, was that a Dongy champion? Is the question, right?
Orianna.
Actually, at the last minute there, flexes
Wow.
it to the Orianna, and feels like we've got ourselves a delivery system again, right, of some key engaged targets. It puts a big question mark now on what your jungle and your top lane look like to facilitate it.
Yeah, interesting. Orianna, no escape champion into Wukong Annie. If this Annie stun lands, you are basically dead. So definitely going to have to play the range there, tether correctly in lane, and be good at the warding. We'll see the double bans. Looks like Pentanet want to do the top bans, the safe blinds. They've got a lot of dashes on their teams. Actually, they've only got 1 dash, so I'm not sure what the Poppy ban is there for, but they've banned it. The Olaf, that's a classic Chippy's pick. We saw him, I think, in the game that they lost, but he was just dominating the fights. It was very, very close, and he was the one responsible for keeping them in it.
Certainly was. They've, as you said already, banned the Poppy, but now banned away the Nautilus too to complement the Jinx to make sure that Praedyth can certainly have his way with that bot lane phase.
Yeah, interesting.
Question now becomes, what else do you remove from that side of the draft? Do you need to remove a jungler, or are you more concerned about, the potential of like a Gwen as well on top of the Olaf?
A top, yeah, it has to be a top because this does seem like a top R5 for Pentanet, so they get rid of the Malphite. What is that telling us? Is this a Jace? Is this a Jace for Direwolves? I mean, what else would you ban Malphite for? It feels like if you're blind picking top, you really just pick a tank and say, pick Cassante, pick Gragas. Everything is open. All these great blind pick... Ooh, a Zac lock-in. Is this a Zac top? Or is this a Zac jungle? It could be a flex.
It's a big question, isn't it? I mean, we've seen Biopen for play in the top lane, looked superb on it. Just briefly touching on your Malphite point before, I know that they played it in their last game, right? When he just said 5 PB Malphite, I'm ulting that backline, and I will one-shot I carry regardless if they have mobility or not. But yeah, it is a big question mark now as to whether Zac would go. Only seen it in the top lane. Would it be played by Shern in the jungle? Would beg the question. You feel like he'd want to play something maybe a little bit more aggressive. The Lulu, though, is there to complement the Jinx, and another composition built for the Jinx to flourish.
Yeah, and it feels this Nautilus ban is really a question mark for me because when you look at the Direwolves roster, they have plenty of engage. They have a frontline. They have tanky champions. So do you really need a Nautilus here, or would you always just pick an Enchanter? I think they were always going to pick Lulu.
Feels to me as if they've got everything they could have hoped for, really, don't they? They've got the protection, they've got the burst, they've got the engage, they've got the isolation now with the Cassante coming through as their 5th and final pick. And now for
worried.
Chippies, he's got a long time to deliberate here. Okay, where exactly is this Zach going? How lost in the sauce are we? Are we really looking to try and lean into PCS tech where we draft early game strengths with the Renekton? Or do we say, no, it is all about the late game and an Ornn instead gets considered? I can see you're very, very concerned there.
Oh no, my prediction. It's on fire right now. The house is on fire. Schönfire's locked in Zach. I have never seen Schönfire play Zach in my life. I've trusted him. I've trusted Schönfire, and he's done this to me. We've got the Ornn to round it out, so the late game scaling is definitely there from Pentanet. They've got the Ornn items. They've got a very beefy comp, 2 ball delivery champions, but Direwolves, they just have S-tier champs all around.
They certainly do, and it's a proven recipe for success, isn't it, for Direwolves? We've seen it countless times, not only domestically, but abroad as well, and it is proven to be one that is, when piloted correctly, just a little bit too hard to try and counter. It's just a bit too strong. So does that maybe lean more into the idea why Pentanet have drafted some, you know, slightly unique picks?
Yeah, definitely. I think that from a meta standpoint, from 13-11, the champions on Direwolves are the ones that you want to be piloting. There's more room to make plays in the early game. I mean, think about Orianna, Zach. You blur the ults, that's it. You're not champions anymore. You can't do anything. But Annie and Wukong, definitely a lot less ult reliant. The Annie stun is always good. So look at this 2v2 mid to apply pressure towards the bot side. Top tanks, as always. I feel like we're a broken record here. But every game seems the same.
It does definitely does feel like that way, doesn't it? In terms of we're saying, let's put a big microscope towards bot lane, who can get ahead first. You know, let's look at top lane. Okay, let's not look anymore. But you know, ultimately, in terms of this game here, it feels like the pressure is very much on Pentanet to find a way back into this. In terms of you're kind of expecting Direwolves to run the show for the first 15 minutes, but surely from what I can see from what PGG have put together is a very strong skirmish comp with the one banger, that shockwave and so on, right? The slingshot in. So are we clearly like ramping towards an idea where you are expecting, you know, a few of those objectives to be sacrificed, item spikes to come online, almost a bit like what we saw in the previous series?
Yeah, this game should just be decided around dragons, around rifts, around Baron, where both teams set up, and it really is going to come down to which team is face checking who. If PGG is set up at such an easy engage angle on the Zac from Fog of War with the Orianna Shockwave, and it can one-shot the Jinx even through the Lily ult.
Well, let's go ahead and fight up. Let's load into the Rift for our second series of the night. Another best of 2, another chance for 2 heavyweights to showcase their brilliance, with Direwolves coming to this one with a win and a loss, as opposed to Pentanet with 2 draws to their name. Only difference is a single point separating them on the ladder, 3rd and 4th place, but tonight there should be a difference.
Yeah, and another different start to the early game. This time we've got both teams going to that bot bush, placing down a ward, switching to Trinket, Red Trinket, and trying to play for control of the lane. Both junglers look like they're going to be starting topside. A late invade from Direwolves.
Yep. Right in their face, going to showcase that, hey, that ward is going on your red buff. We'll know exactly where the Zac is going at any given moment. Whether or not that looks to try and affect his pathing, I'm not too sure at this stage. But either way, they've planted that vision and nothing more to really come of it.
But very good timing. It's all in the details. Very good timing by Direwolves to walk in at that moment, because even though the ward gets spotted, it's just too late for Zac to recall and swap to Red Trinket, so there's no advantage that can come out for level 2 in the solo lanes and clearing the ward.
Well, let's look then at this mid lane in particular. Orianna, another champion that we've seen a handful of times at least at home here. What do you make of it at the moment?
Yeah, look, I can think of a lot of other more meta champions that are good into RE, especially in this game. If it was me, I would probably pick Cassio. Orianna, it's a good champ.
Of course you would,
It's a good. I'd always pick
any
Cassio.
draft, slam Cassio here, we win.
Yeah, but look, any champion is fine here. Any mage, any sort of teamfight champ, because that's what their identity is. It's just about the lane, whether Dongi is able to justify this pick, get priority, get the move to help the Zac, because undoubtedly, if Shaka invades Zac this game, it's going to be the same situation as the Maokai from the game before. They just can't win the 1v1.
For sure, and I think that really has been when Dongi's looked his strongest, but he has had the ability to get priority, rotate, and roam with Schönfire in particular. And we've seen that recipe for success be 4-man dives, relentlessly targeting bot lane to make sure that Violet does get ahead. There is that early ward, which could not be replaced or removed, rather. That does indicate that the Zac is on the red buff. Whereas if we check it in the bot lane, it is Predator stepping up very aggressively with the protection of a Lulu shield on cooldown.
Yeah, big bot wave for the Direwolves bot lane, and this is a pretty likely invade angle from Wukong if he wanted it. Perfect situation. Zac is pathing down. Huge wave. They're walking in, going to get the Gromp ward down, I imagine. And let's see what they do with that information, whether Wukong actually goes for a play.
Ward goes down, right on cue, as you say, and then comes Schönfire as a result. So continue to have their eyes in the sky to keep tabs as to where the Zac would be at any given moment. Wukong is still in the area.
He's moving. It looks like there will be a late contest on this blue, on this Gromp. I'm not sure what PGG can really do about it. Shenfire has Smite, so this Gromp should be okay. Gets the Gromp, but his health bar is just so awfully low.
Yeah,
Can he actually do anything?
Wouldn't really want to entertain a fight at this stage, would they? Nor would their bot lane if they're looking to try and just, keep the wave at an arm's length underneath their own turret. So first scuttle spawns right on cue. There they are, guaranteed for Shaka.
Yeah, big thing here. Appy able to sweep out the ward. If that ward was still alive, I think Shaka would consider wrapping around the other side of the blue buff and going for a smite steal. But alas, not to be. Just gets the scuttle, gets some vision for his bot lane. Surprising he doesn't go for the double scuttle here. Is hovering in case Zach will gank.
Yeah, looking to see if there's anything to come about this pressure in the bot lane as Decoy has looked a little bit worse for wear as a result of this one. Ward also now placed by Schoenfire, the entrance into the river from Raptors. Queuing up the slingshot, lands on top of Chaz. Stun is there, slappy hands, bring him together with the minions and say, Dongy, have a treat, have a first blood.
Beautiful, just jump up from Schoenfire, mid-cross gank. It should have been called out. All of Schoenfire's camp on bot side is, all of his camps on bot side are down. The scuttle is down. He's always either going to be basing them, walking to top side, or crossing through mid. So a crucial mistake there from Chaz. And once that Zach Q lands, even if you flash away, you still get pulled back in. So at the very least, he saved the summoner spell.
And it must feel so bad for Chaz in particular because they've done such a great job, the Divals, for the first 4 minutes of gameplay of completely tracking the movements of the Zach. That one moment where they can't see him, he makes a play happen.
And that's the Orianna pick, paying off already. He is down a little bit in CS, but that entire time, every single time we pan mid lane, Ori's got pushed. Ori's in the middle of the lane, he's pressuring, he has the first move, and this is allowing Zach to actually have a decent game.
It's a great start then, exactly what you want then for PGG, and it plays much to your prediction then of saying, Schoenfire, repay my faith. I want to see just how good you are in a champion I've never seen you play before.
But it's just good play from Schoenfire. He's taken his camps, he's defended his camps, he did a gank that basically costs him nothing because he crosses to the other side of the map and he gets rewarded for it. So he's very efficient, very good at clearing in the correct sequences.
Taking him with the bot lane as well, and no clear winner at this stage. Definitely trading very aggressively between the two of them. We do see a cleanse actually burnt, as well as an ignite and a heal utilized in that bot lane. So clearly some very aggressive trading that didn't really amount into anything much more than just that.
Yeah.
Now a big spotlight on the bot lane for these junglers to look towards.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at the items, Wukong still has not taken his base. So the CS lead that you see in the jungle right now, it's actually a little bit deceiving because Wukong's going to have to waste a lot of time basing, running back on the map. So Schoenfire is really far ahead in any fight that happens in River, even though Zach is a fight top lane. This is a tiered moment where he dies for the plate.
I like how we're going to coin that a moment at this point.
Tiered moment.
It's a tiered moment.
It's a tiered classic.
It happened in both games, didn't it? It's like, hey, I'm going to crash the wave, I'm going to look like I'm going to die, but hey, watch this.
Yep, and it's always Wither against Cassante. But yeah, Wukong getting a very late base, kind of griefing his tempo, and their bot lane is allowed to play like this just because Schoenfire's base, Schoenfire's in the right place, and Direwolves, they just have to stand and watch as their CS gets denied.
Looking for the slingshot, looking for the range, finds it, gets
it.
a minion, brings him right back. Praetor for saying, help, I need to flash away, and that's exactly what he does. The pressure's been found. We wanted to see jungle aggro, and it's exactly what we got.
Look, I just want to apologize. Apparently Schoenfire is the best Zach in the world. He's landing every single Q, these ganks, forcing flashes. Yeah, so far, playing beautifully.
Great start, and it's really what we've come to know and sort of expect of Schoenfire, right? Is that early aggression. He's always looked his weakest when he's not been able to make the game work on his terms in those first 15 minutes of gameplay, but it's working out beautifully so far. Now they're going to look to try and get the very first dragon here at 7 minutes into the game. Bot lane is rotated up. Looks like Dongy is released as well. 4 members strong. It's a guarantee.
Yeah, a little bit of a risky dragon. Okay, Schoenfire's got the sweep, so as long as there's no ward in the pit, it's very easy for Wukong to go over the wall, try to smite steal, and worst case scenario, just flash out. But there was no ward. They swept it, secured it. Good fundamental League of Legends from PGG.
Great start then. 7 minutes in then. First dragon. Small lead as a result overall. And, you're feeling the pressure in all the right places. You already mentioned just how far ahead it was in the jungle. Now a flashless Jinx. Obviously going to be very vulnerable to a second gank attempt. And it is going to command that Shaka has to come here and pay a bit of respect to, protect and sort of prevent.
Yeah, that's okay. Violet has to flash out. But I like what they're doing here. They're playing with the pressure that they had from the dragon. The whole river, look at that, is covered in wards. Pinks, normal wards, scuttle. The entire map is black for Direwolves. So when the PGG bot lane plays like this, Direwolves have to assume that Schoenfire could still be there. They have to respect it. So even though they blew the flash, I like the aggression. I like the attempt from PGG.
Summoner's match then in terms of, you know, 2 flashless AD carries that will definitely be on a most wanted poster for these junglers, or perhaps even these, you know, mid lane mages to come on through now that they are level 6 and beyond to try and land a crucial Tibbers or even a Shockwave to make sure it all goes their way. As you can see now, Chaz and the boys are going to group up, plant vision, and look to try and entertain the idea of their very first Herald.
Yeah, they're looking to set up around Rift, but Rakan does have the first move, and the biggest thing about Rift is who gets to nuke this first mid wave, right? This mid wave is really, really important because it allows your mid and support to link up and then control that entrance to the river. So it looks like PGG will be able to retake control, and even though Direwolves were able to play some early wards, it's all going to get cleared, and PGG will have the upper hand at this Rift.
Yep, Appy there first, just a
Nice
fair
ward.
assistance to Dongy. Really good ward, as you can see the great toggling from our observers to showcase the fog of war differences.
That shows some preparation. I know that my team also had this conversation where we got a big lead 1 game off the early invade, and that's actually because we went into the replays, we looked at the wards, and we're like, okay, well, the sweepers time out a lot faster now in the new patch, so where can you ward that is unlikely to get swept, but still going to give you some information? So Direwolves MVP ward secures in the Rift.
Definitely need to get creative. I think the last one, at least I know and remember, that really impressed Rusty was the one near the Dragon Pit as well, just across the wall, and you're thinking, nobody's ever going to sweep that. Why would they?
Yep. But PGG doing the correct response. They give it up. They control the bot side of the map. They don't allow the support to cross from mid back to bot. The support has to base, and they're able to secure some plates for Desire.
Nice and aggressive though, RPG. As you saw, Violet there single-handedly just farming up a bit of gold. He's going to take a plate for 3 as a result. Schoenfire just leaps from the Dragon Pit across into the red buff, knows that this one is warded and guaranteed for himself. He's got members in the area, guaranteed to protect.
Oh, Schoenfire, you're just schooling him. Such a great play from Schoenfire, you know, and Shaka also respects it. He goes all the way around. If he just went straight to red buff, it would be a 1v1. Wukong against Zach, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to secure it, but Schoenfire, correct sequencing. First the red, then the Raptors, takes away the camp. So this Rift Herald, yes, it was a net positive, but overall, you've lost a plate, you've lost a bot wave, you've lost a red, you've lost Raptors, evens out.
Completely does, and this is what we always talk about when you're looking at trades.
Oh
And
my
a trade
God,
might
yes.
now just be a kill, instant flash away.
Oh.
That's all you need. The job is done, right? Now more plates, more gold, even more punishment towards that Herald point you were just mentioning.
Yeah, definitely, and Schoenfire not risking it there, not trying to flash all, just respecting in case Wukong was around the corner. And no chances taken because the job is already done. Mid-prior secured.
But he is going to find himself a Shaka as well as the decoy. He's just going to walk straight at them. He does not care.
doesn't care.
His HP is dropping lower and lower, but he still presses
my.
forward. He literally does not care. Appy says, I'm here to back you up. He picks up the bloblets. He gets a bit of HP back. He jumps across the wall. Appy soaks the rocket. He's inside the Dragon Bait. He doesn't mind. Appy says, I need to flash away now. Receives a shield from the Orianna, and Direwolves are beside themselves. We didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, I mean, Schoenfire saw 2 people, decided, hey, I'm going to 1v2. He's feeling himself. You know, it was a cheeky attempt. It was very close. It looked like he was just going to outplay that with the amount of healing from his blobs, from his passive, from his ult. But overall, loses the flash. Not the biggest deal. Still has the passive on Zach. And the game kind of resets. We'll see Schoenfire deploying to the top side of the map, sequencing down towards the dragon.
We certainly will, as we can have a quick check-in with also some of the stats here from Chippy's. 1 game played, perfect KDA. Looking to try and flex on us like he's showing us in that photo as well. We'll get to see if that is the case here for him as well as his team.
Yeah, doing well. Top tank matchup.
Absolutely. I mean, up by 1K is the team, but, you know, top lane matchup, as far as that goes, you know, you're doing pretty well into Cassante.
Yeah, I mean, normally you think of tanks, you think of nothing happening, but whenever I see Cassante, I'm just expecting a solo kill.
Sure.
So being able to stay even, be the Ornn, have the upgrades later on in the game, I think that's all the Chippies can really ask for. Schoenfire, mid again, looking for a kill on Annie. Annie, no flash, and this flash definitely more punishable than the Zac flash. And Shaka using all of his cooldowns on the wave.
He's trouble.
Oh, no.
He has to flash away as well now. Chess has to bear the brunt of that when he gets sucked back in by the shockwave, made to dance, clapped and really destroyed with that minion as well when he says, Shaka, what has happened?
Yeah, and
I have no flash.
Yeah, and that was really just the jungler kind of baiting Chaz in there because as soon as Shaka uses all of his cooldowns, he's just not a champion. You know, he's just a minion, he's just a creep. Schoenfire jumps in, there's no disengage, it's done.
Great bit of awareness then
Second
to
dragon.
punish those moments. As you say, they're going to look to try and pick that one up nice and easily. Not the most bloodthirsty game, 12 minutes in, only 2 kills found so far, but they've been pretty decisive ones, so just that.
Okay, Shaka looking to trade topside makes sense, but he does use the Rift Herald in the Cassante lane, which is not the best use of his time. I'm not sure if they can dive this Ornn out. Seems quite unlikely, so it's just going to be a tower going down. They do get the first tower blood, so yeah, good awareness from Shaka. Gets something back because he knows exactly where the Zac is, doing that dragon. Not the best place to put the gold, but still, more gold in their pockets.
Certainly, right? And it is going to mean as a result then that Zoranis becomes the most fed member in the entire game as a result. So he certainly won't mind really that outcome at this early stage of the game. We know that he's a bit of a demon on the Cassante when given a chance.
Yeah, and look at the gold lead. It's dead even, but this game feels firmly in PGG's favor.
So he does. I mean, everywhere we've seen this Zach go, it has profited. And still up by a massive amount. I mean, look at that, 30 CS. Even from the very get-go, it all just came down to that reset timer, surely.
Yeah, and this is a really rough point in the game for Direwolves because the enemy mid has a completed Mythic. We saw this in the game before with Daystar, and unfortunately Chaz does not. So any fight, any 2v2, 3v3 on the top side of the map is going to be losing for them.
Big thing also to take in mind is the difference between Violet and Praetor. Violet up by a full level, a lot of that based on the amount of time he spent individually just taking those plates for the trade from the Herald, right? So a massive individual win there as well to make sure that he does get his first item completed before.
Okay. It looks like there's going to be a lane swap. They're putting their 80 carries mid. Top swapping bot, and Annie is pushing top right now. Right now, the PGG has more people in the mid lane, so they should be able to establish control. Very respectful pathing from Doggy.
Yeah, taking no risks, taking no chances, really, more so than anything. It was a lane swap that basically got feigned for a second there. You can see that the bot lane of PGG deciding where do we go next. Do we want to go back to bot lane or do we return to mid? Violet's taking a bit of a risky route back towards that one, so it's a flash wild growth, knock him up, crash him down. Featherstorm goes across, Tibbers completely denied. In jumps Shaka, knocks him up with a cycle and gets charmed in by the Rakana's result of all things considered, and then Shaka gets knocked against the wall by the Ornn, a little bit too strong. Out goes to the Rocket, doesn't find the reset, still hunting, and then finally takes down Chippies. Zoranis does go all out and does pull Schönfight away from the rest of his team into the afterlife, kill the blobs, and you get a kill, and that's exactly what they're doing. Praetor is in luxury land, he finds a second, nearly flashing into the Chompers, but Zoranis finds himself a shutdown as well. The most fed member in the game from the top lane becomes just that little bit more strong.
Yeah, disaster strikes for PGG out of nowhere. It looked like they had more members in the mid lane, and somehow Direwolves still find a window, and it looked really sketchy. Decoy thinking that he's playing Lee Sin, tries to insect Violet with the Flash Wild Growth, and it looks very sketchy here, but the TP, I guess, coming in too late from Orianna. And no alls. Orianna's still farming the top wave right now. I guess his TP is down, so this fight is just 4v5. It looks so good. I feel like it's executed very well by PGG, but just 4v5, the numbers advantage is too much.
You can see that Dongy's only just rocked up to the fight now with that TP, and you know, by that time the damage has already been done. It just feels very greedy at the start of the play, the pathing that Violet took to make that happen.
Yeah, it's disaster. Disaster for PGG. The game was in their control. This is the kind of stuff that you don't want to happen in the game when you have the 2 dragons, right? Because you can guarantee that the 3rd dragon will be a favorable fight. You set it up. You've got, you secure that. You've got the Soul Win con. This is the kind of random stuff that you want to try and avoid. Rift Herald being started by Direwolves. PGG all in position. There is no teleport on Ornn. There is teleport on Zoranis, so there's not going to be a contest.
But it's completely unstuck the narrative that we had before about the differences between both AD carries. We were already celebrating the fact that Violet had a 4-level lead and an item advantage. Well, now Praetor is the one to get the only bounty in the game. Go back to base and say, well, the Jinx is back in business.
Yeah, the tables have definitely turned for PGG, but still, let's not put them in the grave just yet. The gold lead's only 600, 700. You've got the 2 Drakes. You've got the Zac scaling. I'd definitely say Zac is a more useful champion late game than the Wukong, and also very good at spacing out the Jinx. Buying space, creating space, just tanking. Even the Bloblet's passive, even if you die in the end, when you go into the blobs, you don't give the Jinx the reset, so that still buys you a little bit more time.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll just have to see around this next dragon.
Definitely does become the big question mark because double dragons for Pinternet as opposed to double Rift Heralds then for Direwolves. Dragon number 3 then, up in 30 seconds. It is a Infernal Drake and an Infernal Soul to play for at just that. Extra damage, why would you not? That is definitely my favorite one to go for.
Yep, Chaz greeting for an extra wave. That's 2 or 3 waves being denied on the top side of the map. Doingy can't catch it. Grouping up with the team, they do have control, PGG, of the side of the map. They have to watch out for the Cassante flank.
Instantly summon the Herald in the mid lane, guaranteed they've got control of that position. Bully Pinternet back out of the river. So that dragon is looking a little bit harder now to try and reclaim.
Not their dragon anymore. I think re-entering this for PGG is very risky. You should just try and shut them off from going back to mid lane, trade this mid tower, dance here until the next wave comes in, and try to trade this mid tower for this dragon.
Dongy chucking a ball across the water to try and figure out where Shaka is. They've managed to find themselves back into the river. They still have yet to spot the Wukong.
They're fighting.
In we go. It's a
Flash.
Flash Cyclone knocking up 2. Rocket goes out nicely. Call of the Forge God. Looking to try and knock members up. Looking to try and find that kill. Shucker is still alive. Same for Schoenfire. He flashes in without a passive to try and knock them all up. He'll die inevitably and give Predath that first reset he's been hunting for. He's going with damage because he's getting it done right now. The Feather Recall, it's not enough. And Zoranist is just a different caliber, and Castante gets himself a double kill. And then Predath says, Violet, did you miss me, mate? Laning face, who cares about it? Because I'm a bit of a team fight demon.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you trade 1-for-1 against the Jinx draft, it's just always losing, right? And we talked about it. We said you got to trade. Once you give up that control of the area, it is so hard to re-enter into this double engaged champion. You've got the Castante, you've got the Wukong coming out of nowhere, the Annie to split up the fight as well. Let's have a look at the fight. So Wukong finds a good angle, the blind spot, flashes in. It looks like he's reaching too far. Dies very quickly, and a good shockwave and a brilliant Ornhorn here as well. But as soon as one person dies, this flash from Schoenfire lost the fight, because as soon as he dies and gives Jinx the reset, this fight is completely different.
You raised very early on at the start there that this was a fight that you didn't want to see PGG take. I mean, can they have played that any better apart from the Schoenfire point you already mentioned?
No, they played it just as well as they could have. You know, the Ornn played well, the Rakan with a great engage as well, good timing on the Xayah ult, but it's just not enough. As soon as you trade 1-for-1 against the Jinx, it's all over.
Yeah, that first kill was all it took then to explode into a triple kill. And now, the KDA looks pretty. 5-0-3, very happy with the outcome, no doubt about it. Let's check in with the total gold as a result, and a big swing has happened as a result. Zoranist still is uncontested at the top there, but Predath is not too far behind now.
Yeah, Chaz finally picking up Leandries. He's very happy. He's kind of even in the mid lane now. And it's just, yeah, Predath, 2 full items. The Gale Force as well to dodge a lot of this engage. Excellent against the Zaki, excellent against the Ornhorn and the Shockwave. So kind of counters everything in this game.
Talk to me about Annie a little bit more then, once we get a chance to. We obviously have seen a handful of different builds come out from them. You know, what is your favorite version? Because for me, it has to be the Rocket Belt. I mean, it's so flashy.
Yeah, Rocket Belt's a lot of fun, and you can do it in this game. You obviously solo AP. You just have to ask yourself, is Magic Pen actually value in this game? Will they build Merc Shreds? Probably not in this game. You've got your only 2 knockups. Your only 2 form of other CC on this team are knockups. You've got the Lulu knockup, the Wukong knockup, the Cassante, you know, knockup. So no one's going to build Merc Shreds. So you could have definitely gone for a Pen build, but chose for the Leandris, chose for the sustained damage. You do have the double frontline, the Zac and the Ornn. So he wants to do a bit more DPS over time, and now he's going for the Zhonya's just to avoid giving that kill when he flashes forward.
100%, right? Make the flash tippers play and then live to tell the tale. Your job is done, and your team can, you know, really receive the bounty as a result of that one. Doing in return to the bot lane here, and look to even the odds and find themselves their first turret of the game, but Baron on spawn, and Direwolves are going to start it.
Ambitious from Direwolves. There's a lot of AoE non-committal abilities from PGG. Too early, way too early on the teleport from Dongi.
I'm sure that's what he wanted. They played
exactly. Yeah,
and job done.
Just wait a little bit longer there. The Baron was 13,000 or 11. It was basically full health. They've only done a few hits to it, so just wait a little bit longer there. Force somebody from Direwolves to either make a play, or at least get a little bit lower so that you've got a chance, a better chance in the team fight.
Jumped the gun a little bit, but has afforded PGG a chance to go back to base and pick up their second items as a result. You see Navori, Banshees, as well as the Evan Shroud all picked up and completed from jungle through to bot lane, which should give them a sizable moment then to think, okay, I'll be strong enough now to entertain a fight. Down by 3k as a whole, but next dragon up in 2 minutes, maybe game on.
Yeah, and you got to remember the Ornn upgrades are about to start coming in. Schoenfire looking for a pick, gets the flash from Lulu. And they secure the scuttle, also great for stalling time.
So yes, force decoy away, guaranteed vision to prevent Direwolves from sneaking in the Baron, and then Zoranist says, well, you know, you don't have a TP to match this. Sure, Chippies can come down here, but he's not going to burn a TP, he's going to walk down the long way, and I'm going to put even more pressure on the map. We'll get a second turret. PGG cannot answer back in the mid lane to respond. Yeah,
and the saving grace for PGG is Chippy still has teleport, so you can send that Ornn down bot lane, and you should be able to contest the Baron with 4 just as well as the Ori. Let's see. What do Direwolves want to play for? They could just play for resources on the map. But look at the wards on the map. It's all red. Everywhere. Just red, red, red. I don't see a single Direwolves ward outside of that pink on the alcove.
Yeah, there's a small little one there, little blue trinket, if you will, or zombie rather. But, I mean, ultimately, you've been pretty impressed with PGG's vision. I mean, it's been red for the most part throughout this river all game.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have a champion that wants to TP flank, right? Ornn wants to be with the team, to provide disengage, to pick with the ult. Orianna's not got a TP flank, right? So the value of these backline wards from PGG isn't really there. Mid-prior, as always, just dancing on the wave. Really, Xayah, very safe. Praetor does have to watch out. I think this is the one benefit of PGG's draft, is there's just so much threat on this Jinx. If she walks up on the wave, there could be an Ornn from one side, a Zac from the other, and yeah, you've got Galeforce, but you can only use it once.
Certainly can, right? Very reliant then on your flash timing and your reaction speed more so than anything, right? You can see there, Appy will be a little bit cheeky. Vision cleared out. He knows he's very safe here, but obviously this is a premeditated place to try and gank if you do have the mobility to jump across the wall like a Rakan.
Fire. Channeling up.
At the moment, he's tried to go for Predator, he's tried to bring him in, he's been successful in doing just
Shaka
that, but
flash.
Shaka says it's my time to shine, jumps in immediately, Pepperstorm goes out nice and early, Shaka's still the focus, he spins to win to get himself away, he's still so healthy.
What?
Shockwave is massive onto multiple members, they've been completely baited, and then Violet gets all-out mode dragged between two turrets. Unbelievable, Shunfai's overshot the slingshot, he won't mind, the kill's been found, Chippies has claimed it, both Eddie carries are dead, and both teams will walk away.
Yeah, I mean, Shunfai is just a mad genius to jump. He missed, and they won the fight. It just seemed like the tanks weren't taking any damage there. The Zac and the Ornn just not looking phased at all by this Jinx.
Shockwave though, I mean that
The
really,
Shockwave,
they
yep,
all
going
came
in.
together and you thought that's what you're looking for.
Let's see in the replay. Zoran trying to stop some bases. I hate when people do this. It's quite annoying. There we go, the replay. So Zac tries to jump with Jinx, doesn't land it, lands in the Q though. Zoran ready to peel, and Jinx is just not hitting in this fight because she's afraid of this Ornn Horn. Gets CC'd again. She hasn't hit once. She's hit once on Violet. Twice. I've seen Jinx attack twice, and then she gets hit by the Shockwave and gets one shot. So great ball positioning by Orianna. Violet gets Cassante. I will not yield. The classic. But PGD still clean up the fight.
They do. And I mean, ultimately, you see that the ball is premeditated. It's placed there so early on. You see that the Jinx wants to get aggressive. I'm so strong. I must step up. I have double summoners. Why would I not look to try and step up here? Shockwave held for the ideal moment.
3 dragons now for PGG, which is massive. And Direwolves, thank you. They're doing what I told PGG to do before. Just trade something for it. Get the mid tower. Allow yourself to contest this Raptor camp. Get deeper vision around the Baron. And not just suicide into the Dragon Pit. We could be seeing another fight.
Certainly could be. Will PGG allow Direwolves to walk away scot-free is the question. Slingshot's being queued up right now.
Not a good fight for PGG because the AD carry does have flash on Praetor. So if Shunfai just jumps in, even if he hits the Jinx could just flash out and Shunfai could get focused, and the same as that Dragon fight.
They're not even allowed to get the mid-tier 1 either, right? You see to try to step up, Violet can really weave in an auto 2 at max. Has to walk away.
Yeah, the biggest advantage for PGG is this teleport on Chippy, so just put it on in the bot lane, create some pressure. Don't allow Direwolves to stack us 5 like this, because this really is just a 50-50. Use the resources that you have to create some sort of a small advantage on the other side of the map, and then use your numbers to retake the area.
You can see that's already what's happened here for Chaz, who's already peeled away. Doesn't have the TP available, but that's not going to stop him from looking to try and make his impact felt. Level 14 now. That means the first ornament comes across, in particular in the mid lane for Dongy. So Leandri's ready to rock and roll. And if they can continue to find a late game specials like that, then that's really when the Orianna comes online.
Yeah, very surprising that Orianna has a 30 CS lead on the Annie. It feels like every time we pan to this Annie, she's on the side, shoving the waves, and Orianna is never responding to that wave. So I would have thought that she's falling behind, but somehow Dongy finding the CS across the map, whether that be jungle camps or little scraps here and there, to maintain his CS lead.
Definitely going to be feeling very content with their ability to try and carry this game. Void Staff now acquired, right? Feeling very strong in this game, no doubt about it. So big item spikes as we start to hit the free item break point. And still the big question becomes, how is this game going to close up? Because you talked about it during the drafting phase. It's Dragons, it's Heralds, it's Barons. And that seems to really be where we're gearing up to. Yeah,
and the question is Cassante with 3 items and a Lulu more tanky than Ornn and Zac? That's the real question now. I'm not sure. Is he busted enough to be more tanky than 2 tanks? We'll find out.
That's the Stone Plate, so obviously very strong in that regard, but it depends whether or not he feels the need to even break out of that all-out gamer mode and become tanky. Looks like Leandri's was the first item that was upgraded by Ornn. Good choice, definitely high value, and Orianna is doing a lot of damage in these fights. Mid-prior secured by Direwolves. They get the lane ward as well. That's great to see who's responding to the mid-wave and whether you can pull the trigger in the jungle. Should see Appy clear that ward. It's very important to get rid of that one because that is also a TP flank ward for when they start the Baron. And TP flanks for Direwolves are a lot more effective than PGG. The Annie, definitely comfortable TP flanking. Flash Tibbers with the shield. The Zhonya's to buy time. Cassante TP flank. So this ward is very dangerous for PGG.
Looks like Direwolves are cycling their bases now, so PGG will be able to get control. See if they get any items or if this is just to refresh the...
And it's a really good timing also here,
yeah.
Fido, for the fact that all summoners are now up and available. Violet's Flash has just come back, so certainly a fight where they can say everything's on the cards or everything's available for us. Let's have that bit of a form check.
Yeah, and the question is for Annie in this game. This is quite a hard Annie game because obviously Violet has the cleanse, has the ult. So as soon as he gets Tibbers, he will cleanse the ult. He was cleanse and ult, and he'll dodge most of the other damage. Shaka going in.
He's got it straight away. He's got a target of mine. Violet is
Violet
completely called out. He's been soloed. Unbelievable. The damage has been cycled through by Shaka completely. And Chaz will die for it, but a Flash Tibbers has done its job. They've found their target, and they've got their kill. Now they look for more. Entofo Strikes brings back Happy. The zap isn't going to quite connect, but they're still ramping up. They've still got an AD carry. They've still got pushing power to take more.
Yeah, I think PGG are very happy if Direwolves don't force the Baron here. It's a very bad situation for them. AD is dead, but thankfully the timer is low. Thankfully they didn't lose this AD carry when the Dragon was already spawned. But no flash. No flash now for Violet.
He
But
burnt everything. Flash, cleanse, ultimate, and he's still like, I'm just dead.
Still died, yep. Let's see how it happened. Violet showing, and it's the ward. I told you, this ward is what kills Violet. They see him the whole time. That's it. I mean, he just gets flash ulted by two people. He's dead. They trade 1-for-1. Unbelievable that Shaka doesn't die here, but I guess Dongi just not feeling comfortable with that. K'Sante in front of him doesn't want to get insect, so doesn't proceed to hit the Wukong. It ends up being a 1-for-1. They lose the mid tower, not the biggest deal. And should be another fight at this Dragon Soul. Looks like PGG is setting up for Baron, though. Not interested in face checking this this bot side river. They just want to take control of Baron. I don't think they can start it.
No.
Zaya's only 2 items. Does not do too much.
Well, the rocket goes out to reveal, and they say, yep, you can be queuing up the slingshot, but you're not going to be making a fight happen anytime soon. Turret falls on down, and a fight seemingly is inevitable. This would be PGG fighting for an Infernal Soul, but that is what Direwolves are protecting.
Oh, Direwolves very scared of this Baron not doing the Dragon, and PGG kind of pulling them across the map, and the Baron's been started. It's going down quick.
Very quick. Look at the amount of damage that PGG have right now. Direwolves need to really make a move and make a decision
gone.
right here and right now. 2,500, getting closer and closer to smite range. Do they even contest it? Down to 1,100. It is gone without any real invitation for Direwolves. They're too late to the party, and they may just say, Chippies, you can die, but the rest of us run away and preserve the buff.
Yeah, perfectly played by PGG. And really, Direwolves just feeling so scared of this Baron pressure, using that. I think the biggest indicator here was that Jinx ult coming out so early, and that tells an experienced player like Churnfire, these guys are scared. They're sweating. You know, we can actually start this. And gets away with that. And Churnfire walking in 4v5. They see the K'Sante top, but there is a TP. Churnfire looks like he wants to flip a steal?
Would he dare? Would he walk in? Oh, so close. I wondered if there was a world in which he would get everything and more. He's got his passive up and available, but does he have a team to try and protect him? Zoranus has found his target. He's isolated Dongi. One man ult to try and bring him back. Tib is the summon. Rocket goes out. Doesn't connect. Doesn't execute. But then in goes Violet. He still has no summoners. Featherstorm goes across. Gets the kill. And it's the redemption down onto Shaka. But now he's forced to run away. There's his Appy. And protect that Baron.
Yeah, and Direwolves just pounce. Very unnecessary play from PGG. They already got the Baron. The Baron is definitely worse than the single Dragon. It brings it up to the count of 2 for Direwolves. Doesn't really mean too much. I mean, Zach, he was looking for the steal. He was happy to trade his life. He knew that they couldn't get anything else even if he died here, but the rest of his team kind of got baited in. I think for Churnfire, this is just too much of a reach. Just blind steal, walking in, no blue trinkets. You really have to be expecting this to happen. Always a poly when you're mid-air, and Dongi gets baited in by his jungler, and it's just 4v5 into now a 3v5. It's never a winning fight for PGG. Violet a little bit slow on the ult, could have ulted to buffer the anti-stun. I think it was the Q that stunned him there, but all in all, not too bad for PGG. 2,000 gold down, they have a dragon, 3,000, excuse me. They have a dragon lead, they have the Ornn items. That's the biggest thing. So I think this gold lead is actually in PGG's favor. The question is, how do you actually kill the Jinx? Because we've seen every time the Jinx is alive, 1-for-1, the fight's over. Oh,
how do you
1
kill
for 0.
Churnfire? Well, basically you say have no passive and you're going to fall on down for free. Once again, Shaka finds the moment, finds the target, finds the ultimate, knocks them all on up. Chippy says here, have a call of the Forge God and get away from my team. Forced to flash away, Buster with Unstoppable and say, that's enough. Shockwave just not enough to one-shot, but it's getting close.
How did nobody die there? It looks like everybody was going to die. It looks like Churnfire's about to explode, and then the rest of his team following soon, but Nobody dies. That is very good for PGG. Lots of cooldowns. I'd say that Direwolves, you know, as much as we praised, as much as we looked at the PGG comp of being a one-trick pony, the Zac ult, the Ori ult, the Ornn ult, that's it, you've got nothing left. Direwolves pretty similar in that sense. Without the Wukong ult, without the Annie ult, there's no team fighting. So,
Sure.
Unfortunately, PGG, no power play for this Baron. It's about to time out, but at least they've stalled out the game.
I think no surprise we have seen Shaka really be at the forefront of making sure they find these fights. He's been very impressive on the flanks, on the vision, on the flash engages, right, to lock down somebody and make it very easy then for Chaz to say, I can run in and actually, you know, cycle my cooldowns before the inevitable of having to use that zone use. Or, you know, I feel like my contribution has sort of poised and sort of disappeared, right? Obviously, Zorinus has found these fantastic angles too to isolate out key members and take them for a bit of an adventure. But this game, I mean, ultimately, it's as close as we had predicted.
50-50. I mean, it could go either way here. And I think the biggest thing to look at here is that Jinx has no flash. And even though PGG are missing 3 flashes, I would argue that Jinx flash is worth more than all of them combined. And the biggest factor here is Jinx opted for a Vamped Scepter instead of a stopwatch. I'd say if you have no flash on AD, you really need to buy a stopwatch. Otherwise, there's this huge window where you could just auto-lose the game from a random misposition. So we'll see if PGG can exploit that weakness of the Jinx. No defensive stats whatsoever.
Especially so late on Fighter, right?
Yep.
34 minutes and just one respawn times are starting to add up, right? 40 seconds and onwards, right? A big fight and you lose or you fall on down. Dire consequences.
Infinite value as well, because if you get hit by one thing in this game, if you get hit by Ornn, you're getting hit by Zac. If you get hit by Zac, you're getting hit by the Shockwave. So this stopwatch has god value. It could be 5, 10,000 gold worth of value if you do the stasis correctly. He does have the rapid fire, so he is trying to play range. He has the Lulu speed up, but he's really trusting his positioning. There's no room for error.
100%, right? No summoners, but full reliance on his old teammate in Decoy that have been played as a partnership for a fair bit of time now. So should be very at ease in knowing exactly what both are looking to try and achieve. Back to the mid lane we go again, back for control, and back on some very crucial time as a minute on really 2 main objectives.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see which one Direwolves prioritize, because we saw how quickly the Baron died, even though PGG didn't have items, and now they've got an extra item on both the carries, so it's going to die even quicker. And I guess this makes sense. Direwolves do have to play bot side of the map. They have to deny the stall. Infernal Stall, definitely one of the better ones in the game. Direwolves looking to pounce, at least collect this mid wave. There's no pressure of end.
He was biding his time for such a long time. In they go. They look to try and pounce,
Praedyth!
and they've taken him out. Praedyth has gone. Where was that stopwatch? That's what you need. Violet hits level 16 as he gets the shutdown into his old emesis. They get what they need. They look to find more. Chaz, separated from the herd, gets picked apart and says, why? Why did it have to work that way?
Thank you, Schoenfire. Thank you, Schoenfire.
Brother Schoenfire.
Brother Schoenfire, you've redeemed yourself. The double objectives are going to go the way of PGG. This is Infernal Soul. We'll see if they choose to base. I think they can just do both. Infernal straight into Baron. There's no trades available. The waves are just not in a good place for Direwolves to rat any of the base. Shaka looking for a steal, but this is the same situation as Schoenfire. And it seems like Shaka's a lot more reserved, a lot more realistic. There's no steal happening here. Preserves his life. And the base. I like this base. Here we go. Let's go into the replay. So Praedyth stepping up. We said he has to be confident in his positioning. Unfortunately, confidence can be a double-edged sword. Gale forces backwards in a line. That is not his chief. And as soon as he dies, the fight's over. Chaz, unfortunately, has to pay for his sins as well. And killing Chaz here is the reason why they weren't able to get both objectives. It's kind of a lot of time wasted. They decide to just do the dragon base. And in this fight, I mean, they've got the Dragon Soul. Look at that. Rabadons, Bloodthirster, 4.5 items on Violet. The only saving grace for Direwolves is that Jinx Flash is back up. But what you're going to have to do is actually kill somebody of the front line. Who are you killing in this game? Are you killing the Ornn or the Zac? I don't think you're killing either. And the stopwatch, beautiful. Stopwatch on Rakan, probably the best target for a reset for Direwolves. And Appy recognizes that, buys the god value item. Very good play. Starting the Baron without clearing the pink ward, a little bit sloppy from PGG. They absolutely don't care. They want the fight.
Got again. The rocket is far too late, and for the second time this game, Fido, they've just rocked up and said, why is the Baron dead? We didn't even get a chance to try and set up. Ingo Shippies again finds a crucial target and knocks up Decoy and says it's a little bit too out of reach. We don't need to overcommit right now. We've got Baron buff again. This one surely is one to use for Siege.
Yeah, and PGG, good decision. Just fall back. You've used the Ornn. It's an important cooldown. There's no reason to force anything here. You've already lost the mid tower. It's all good. Just base. Find a better fight.
Oh, they've actually got it. They've caught it Appy. But can he run away? He pops the quickness. That Baron-inspired recall was just not enough to synchronize and go back to base with him. But I think he's just too slippery.
Yeah, well, good. Looks like he gets out here.
heartbeat.
Playing with our emotions here.
It skipped for a second, didn't it?
Wait, did this bait Direwolves in?
Is this the biggest bait? Is he actually the MVP of this entire situation right now? And he jumps again! He looks for something more, but his team aren't ready to try and pounce upon it, and now summoners are being burnt, and Schönfei says, well, we're going in. I will make this happen. He's brought both together. He gets taken across the wall here by Zorinus. Instantly flashes away. Zorinus says, I can't do much more.
What is going on?
Back off too. Oh my god.
I was praising Schönfei for good, correct League of Legends. He needs to rally his squad. Just get them to reset. Reset, guys. Set up 2 lanes and just siege. There's no way we're going to get flanked if we play properly. This is the only way for Direwolves to come back in this game, and that's a huge amount of time wasted off the Baron buff.
I think it's a case study to see what Appy was doing. Are we going back? Are we going in? Are we looking to try and bait our team and what's happening? And ultimately, they try to get a little bit more than they could chew. But now, surely a chance to, you know, fully reset, fully set up, and utilize the next, what, minute and a half of this Baron.
They just need to get these 2 outers. I don't think cracking the base is, I mean, the inner towers, I don't think cracking the base is realistic for PGG just because of the threat of the engage. So they're probably just going to be happy settling with this tower in the bot tower as well. Another influx of gold and then controlling bot side for the Eldar.
There you go, that is tower number 3 for them. 2 taken in the mid lane to open up the highway for these flanking opportunities to corral rather Direwolves into some pretty disadvantageous situations.
Yep, just 1 minute left on the Baron. Unfortunately, the PGG is not pushing 2 waves at a time here. Looks like they do want to commit for the inhib. They're feeling strong. There's no flash on Wukong and Annie, and they think that that's all the engage that Direwolves have. So they're going to go for the inhib.
Last gun across the wall. As you say, they're really ready to make it all happen right now. Call of the Forge God, he's been rooted by the Chompers. He couldn't get R2 off right now. Appy's
gone.
seemingly dead off my screen, but just managed to evade the grasp of Zorinus, who was looking to hunt him down as easy as you like it. They've opened up the base. They won't get the inhibitor. They now need to try and fight themselves out of this mid lane. Schönfei's passive has popped, but Violet has found his first kill. You're looking for the shockwave. It hasn't been used. They can't find an angle. They can't find the moment.
Thought Chippy's were going to do a clutch TP on the blobs there, help Schönfei survive, but decided against it because that would lock him in the animation. Maybe he gets focused. Fair enough, but this is the danger of pushing up for this inhib. Just take the guaranteed gold of the towers. Choke them out of the jungle. Guarantee this win, guys. You're in a commanding lead, and Direwolves are fighting back. Here we go on the replay. See the Ornhorn. Ornhorn doesn't go off. He actually gets rooted by the Chompers. Appy survives on a sliver of health. And then the positioning is just broken. We can see Zaya's frontlining. She's unsafe to hit. Schönfei just gets focused down, flanked around, Cassante. And that's the end of the siege. Fortunately, no objectives for Direwolves to pick up, so it's just a 1-0.
Obviously, both AD carries at this point in the game, super late game, 40 minutes in, are doing unholy amounts of damage when given a chance to even just stand still for what, a second, 2 seconds at that. This game is going towards an Elder. It's up in a minute 20, and well, I don't think we've seen an Elder at all, so this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, it smells like a burger flip to me. Should be an exciting fight. Definitely still favor PGG. Look at that Dongy, 6 items on the Orianna. No Zonias though, so is susceptible to the flash ult from Annie, but I just don't think that Annie can burst him down. Chaz only sitting at 3 items, 2 full items behind the Ori, and Praedyth full build. Praedyth is the one who can bring this game home.
That's what you're banking your bets on right now. They've lost 2 Barons, but can he be the hero to try and steal it away with an objective if they were late to another major objective? Appy pulls the trigger, says we find a target. That's not who you want.
Yeah, Appy has to be really careful. He is the target for the Jinx. He needs to be the secondary engage for PGG and allow Schönfei, allow Chippies to frontline instead.
They've stolen the horn,
Chaka?
and they're going to find themselves a clone and a Praedyth very far removed from the action.
Yeah. I think to control this mid-wave, all you really need is the Ori ball in a good spot. So you should try and conserve your other tools like the Ornult for the actual engage. But now the Ornult's down and Direwolves are feeling confident. And this is not an objective that you can give up if you're PGG. The problem is now your jungle is all black. So Chaz could be in any one of these bushes. He's got a really good flank angle. And Shaka also on the other side opts to go into the Dragon Pit. Zorinus getting focused by 5 people.
They're starting it up. They're going to go for it. It's getting super low right now. They have to jump in, they have to try and steal it away, but they don't. It's actually Praedyth of all people that guarantees that Direwolves will get themselves the Elder Dragon. He's found his first kill. He's got his first reset. Chaz flashing into action, landing the timbers and locking him down. Double kill here for Praedyth, who's now going to look to try and make that free. Gale forcing forward, looking to try and take down Violet, but he gets denied because the Feather Recall is unbelievable. Yes, you got an Elder buff, but you won't be executing me.
Violet's just refusing to lose. He's watching his team die. He's watching his team be late to the Dragon, but he just solid carries that fight. If they both die there, I think that's just end skimmy. So that's a hero moment from Violet and keeps him in the game.
What a massive moment in this game there. Look at the difference between their KDAs, 12-5, but it's that one crucial kill which really saves them from the Elder play.
Yeah, definitely. And how much have we got on the Elder? This kills a lot of the Elder duration, so Direwolves really just have one push with the Elder to try and end the game here. Maybe they go for Baron. The question is, do PGG give it up? Let's look at the fight. Zoranus looks like he's soaking up a lot of pressure. Very slow from PGG, just too slow. By the time Shenpai gets in, the Dragon is already gone, and the positioning is great from Praetor. Avoids the Zac E, avoids the Rakan. And that's what I was talking about. Rakan got two-shot there in that fight. Great shockwave, but it just tickles Praetor with all the shields. And then all this feather recall. Praetor, I assume, thought maybe the E is still on cooldown. Oh, it's the ones from the back. He dodged the ones in the front, but it's the ones that's still left in River from such a long fight. Very unlucky from Praetor. I don't think you can blame it there. And look at this now. They do have the Elder buff, but there's a lot of pressure on Direwolves here. Look at the flashes. All the flashes are gone except for one. And everybody on PGG has their flashes. Just don't fight before this Elder. Let this Elder time out. And then you've got a 4-flash advantage. The game is in your hands.
Just draw it out.
Yep.
Play as long as you need to, right, to wait for that and then to go for the Baron to close it out.
Direwolves need to pull the trigger. They need to start the objective. A flip is fine. You're playing for the fight. It doesn't matter who gets this Baron buff.
Join is caught on the side right now. He's not going to be too deterred by that one. Injunction, fine, knocked up. He's the call of the Portugal. Violet span one. They've removed the jungler. The Baron is so low. It's a flip, and it's a kill. And it's Praetor dead again to Violet. It does not matter how fit the Jinx is. It doesn't even matter if the Jinx gets a kill or reset.
Is it over?
I think they might look to try and push for the end now. Forget the Baron.
There's no way clear.
Square up in this mid lane and look to kill Zoranus. He can't even go all out. He can't even execute or isolate. And they're going to march straight through mid.
Look at this game. When was the last time you've seen a game go to 7 dragons? You got the full package, 7 dragons, Elder, Baron, and finally, PGG come out on top.
That they certainly do, Fido. They've done it in 45 minutes, the longest game in Split 2 so far. Last was at 38 minutes, and that also had PGG involved. They like to be the late game specialist.
Yeah, well played. Look at the cameras. Just a sigh of relief, no excitement.
No. Stonewall reaction really from them.
They know that that game was a single hair straight away from losing.
It had its dicey moments. It had a fair few too many, to be quite frank with you. There was moments in which you were thinking, okay, there's a world in which Direwolves really look to try and bring this back. You're seeing Jinx very early on into this game go, what, 5-0? You're thinking, hang on a minute, this is not really how it's meant to go. Then a few fights go against them, a few Barons go the way of PGG, and you're thinking, Direwolves, what's going on here? And that game had ups, it had downs, then ultimately had a case where really the clutch factor, once again, to no one's surprise, is the Violet versus Praetor show.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the green room and we were just like, okay, laning phase, it doesn't matter. Put that to the side. This is the Direwolves show. You know, Dong, you're just like, I should have gone 2-0 the other way, man. I should have gone 2-0 the other way. What have I done here? It was intense. Every fight, we thought, this is it. This is the make or break. This could be the one for the team. But they kept happening. It kept going. This game saw no end in sight, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, it got to that Elder Dragon fight, and the Direwolves actually managed to secure it, and you're like, this is it, this is where the game ends, and then Praetor's one shot.
Yeah, I mean, you saw at the end there, all the players from PGG looked very stressed out, very sort of conflicted, even though they won the game except for Violet. We saw that little smirk from him. He's like, oh, you're welcome, guys.
I will say, something that I was impressed with of Direwolves being able to get back into this game happened, I think it was about the 15-minute mark, where we saw the mid lane team fight happen, and that was a massive swing for Direwolves. I feel like that was probably the one thing that perpetuated their contention in this game, right? This was what set them in motion to be able to have the fights that they did. But at the end of the day, why couldn't this Jinx close it out, Zhajong, right? I want to talk about what could have been, what could have happened.
I mean, right, I think it's a very big difference for the two sides is one team has a Zac, one team has a Wukong, one's considerably tankier, right? Which puts onus on the on the Wukong, sorry, to find an engager, will find pressure on the Orianna and Xayah, right? Xayah has no Zhonya, she's just full damage, full there to DPS with the Xayah, right? So I really think Direwolves just had to find a little bit better engage angles on the 2 carries of Pentanet, and the game could have gone the other way.
Yeah, look at the damage.
Oh my
Pulling his
god.
weight.
Not only the damage that was done by the 2 ADCs, but also the gold difference. Look how heavy it was in favor for Direwolves all the way up until the end. Like, this was the swing that we talked about. They dropped the Herald top. They got the full plates on that top turret. That was that 2K swing originally. And then we see these team fights happening down in mid lane. And slowly but surely, every dip you see in gold difference was a 5-man fight. That's pretty much it. Every dip was a team fight that happened.
But I think to their credit, right, and this is why we've all been a little bit conflicted with our predictions as to, you know, a 1-1 on the day. It's never gone more than 4,000 between these 2 teams. Obviously, at one point you mentioned ornaments are like, yep, they're always going to be there as a sort of like a equalizing factor regardless of what the game state will show you. So it ultimately was bubbling up to that late game of like who can play it more consistently, who has the summoners, who has the ability to try and carry. So I think we're certainly like looking forward to a game 2 on a very similar trajectory.
Yeah.
Conflicted predictions. I had the 2-0.
And don't worry about yours. Don't worry about yours on that.
Yeah, there we go.
You just know. You just know.
He was worried at the start. He's fake. He's like, oh wait, no, Brother's showing fight. Brother's showing fight.
He's like, just kidding, just kidding. I never, no doubt in my mind.
Always
No
believed.
doubt.
When it comes to late game League of Legends, though, is it one of those things you either just know how to play it or you don't know how to play it? How do you practice that when we're seeing so many games consistently end 25, 28-minute mark?
I think like when it comes to the late game, it doesn't matter if you play like 10 scrims in a row that goes 40-minute plus. It's not the same as game. On game, you're so much. Actually means something. Every little decision matters. I feel like it just kind of boils down to macro. Screw all that. Everyone come mid. We're 5v5 fighting. Better mechanics win.
Don't leave my side. Every time we want to do something late game, we do it together as a 5-man.
Fighter's like, you've got TP. Go push bot lane. Get out of mid. What are you doing? Go, just split push. And like, no. Dajung's in my ear right now talking.
5v5 mid right now.
Baby. We fight.
We stick together and we just run at them. We throw every single body possible towards them. Hey, it worked out. I did like the objective trading as well that came out in this game. Every time we saw, you know, Drake being contested, Baron being contested, there was going to be a turret being taken. There was going to be the opposite objective being taken. So something that you guys have highlighted a lot of how mechanically skilled they are. Obviously as well on that map awareness, they're just as all over the page of what needs to be taken and what doesn't.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, this game was almost lost. It's a story of 2 tales. The game was lost on the side of Direwolves because AD didn't buy a stopwatch in that one fight instead of Vamp Scepter. And then on the other side, there was that one ward that almost won the game on Violet. These little things, I would separate these 2 teams. Very small margins.
For sure.
Yeah, really small margins. And looking towards game 2, Skim, you've already predicted that you think it's going to be another banger, probably another late game 1. Does that make you worried? Should there be any bans that respect what we saw out from this game 1? Or you've taken out all the heavyweight champs and you're like, you kind of need to stick with those bans?
Yeah, I don't think too much is going to change. If I was a, if this is a parallel world, and I know you can already look at me and go, oh, okay,
I love where
Skim's
this is
cooking,
going. Let's
Skim's
go,
cooking.
Skim.
If
Let's
this
go.
is a parallel
Let's go.
world, and if this was a red side draft here for Direwolves, then if Chaz was thinking, forget the meta, Praetif, you're now my dog, you will now bark for me, he's going to slam Aurelion Sol in the 5th and final pick and say, Danny Decoy, mate, you stole my pentakill on multiple occasions, but this time you will not.
There you go, yeah. Just pick Aurelion Sol, game goes to 50 minutes, you win the game.
100%.
He covers the whole map.
It
does.
would.
Literally.
What an alternate universe. I like that timeline, Skimmy. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome, mate.
We can speculate a little bit about game 2, but we can also just wait for it to happen. And while we're waiting, let's see what you guys, our fans, have tweeted at us using hashtag LCO when we gave you the question, what is your favorite champion skin? Someone said Ink Shadow Master Yi. Dub L.
I mean, I need to see it, right? I don't know what it looks like.
Oh,
The Ink
do you want me
Shadow
to get it
skins
up
are
for you?
quite new, I think.
They're good.
They're
good,
really
right?
nice. They have really nice graphics.
The Yone one.
Yeah,
You're a Yone
the
player.
Yone, the
That's
Yone one, the
excellent,
one I
yeah.
use, I've never really played Yi in the last year, so I wouldn't know. But
Exactly.
the Yone one's really nice, so probably a dub.
I'm getting the
Dub.
image up for you.
See.
This is it. You can see it.
Oh, yeah. I like a dystopian world. Big fan.
Yeah. Dub?
Good.
You
Dub,
know,
dub.
that reminds me of when you hold it like this, it reminds you of like NCIS or something. Zoom in. Amplify.
Amplify.
And like it doesn't get pixelated for some reason because it's TV magic, and you're like, yeah, bro, that 480 photo is now like 4K resolution somehow. Yep, I know exactly who it is.
This is the meme. It's just me like reflecting it poorly, and someone's like zoom in, and then they get the actual image on something else.
Amplify. He's the criminal.
It's him, officer. It was him. We have the evidence. All right, let's see what other evidence we have of good skins. People's favorite skins. So I said, Blast Zone, Heimer goes hard. This one's for you at BenVOs.
We don't have Max here to flame Kezi this time, though, do we? So
No.
is it really? I mean,
You got someone else can do the honors. You can either lift him up or give him the old flame Marooney. Yeah, you think someone here, Dashong, saying
I
you're
don't
ready to
know.
flame some people.
Who am I flaming right now?
Kezi and his skin choice. Of,
Terrible skin, terrible.
Oh,
Like,
no.
how could you do that, Kezi? Like, terrible. This is an L.
Yeah, that's a big old fat L. L plus ratio plus big. Pick a better skin next time. Why not? Lee Sin
Banger.
pool party. He also dressed up for it.
I like this. We're actually going so far out of the meta. It's like, you know what? I don't even care what Riot released anymore. Watch my son get dressed up as a character.
Is his name Why Not Be Mom?
Yeah, it's Why Not's mum.
Someone's mum tweeted it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's dub then.
That's a big dub. I like
That's a
that.
dub.
That's a massive dub. Not only why not mum tweeting it, but also why not dressing up in the pool party skin. That was a nice line when it came out. All those skins. Someone else said, I might be biased, but my girl don't miss.
Oh.
That's kind of true. That's not one, but a whole range on just one champion. Every single one slaps.
Yeah. Nico Gap.
Nico Gap, Skin Gap, Champion Gap.
Imagine. Okay, no, actually, don't imagine. I'm cooking too hard now. I'm
No,
cooking way too hard. I was
Let
going
him
to say,
cook.
imagine
Yeah.
like how Nico has her skins.
Yeah.
And then when she like shapeshifts into a plant, their skin applies to the plant, and it's like, oh, that's a very flamboyant
Oh,
flower in
plant
there.
skins.
Like, why is this minion so like happy? Like,
It's
why
got
is
like
it
a star
glowing?
above
And
it,
like,
Star
what's going
Guardian.
on here? It's like, I'm a casting minion. What's up?
That's actually how they nerf it. You either play with default Nico to get the buff of being a normal minion, or if you play with the skin, then it has a telltale sign.
So it wouldn't be pay to win anymore. It'd literally be pay to
Pay
lose.
to lose.
Like, there's
Yeah.
pay to lose skins in every game. League needs to throw it in there as well.
True.
There you go. I like it. That was one of your best cook-ups that you've done,
I'll
Skip.
keep stirring the pot, mate.
All right, you
Yeah.
can keep stirring it. Maybe you
Ideas.
can think of some more alternative universes about this matchup because we still got one final game for tonight. We've only seen 3 out of our 4, so stay tuned for our second game in our best of 2 between Direwolves and Pentanet.
He's not going to be too deterred by that one. Injunction, fine. Knocks up his all of the forward block. Violet's found one. They've removed the jungler. The Baron is so low. It's a flip, and it's a kill. And it's Predator dead again to Violet. It does not matter how fit the Jinx is.
It's him, officer. It was him. We have the evidence. All right, let's see what other evidence we have.
Better go crazy. The greatest of all time. No, it's real. Bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Look, bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. float like I'm Cassius. These hits ain't nothing to mess with. I come through, do damage. I go me a ham on the block. Lisa Laz with the shot. Mr. Mamba with the proc. Ken Griffey with the pop. Prime time, I'm double dipping, iced out like Mr. Gretzky. Let's be honest, I had a tiger, don't test me. I'm like Serena when it come to my demeanor. A legend, and Dale when I'm starting my engine. Bet I go, bet I go, bet I go, bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Look, bet I go, bet I go, bet I go, bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Go, crazy. Bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Go, crazy. Bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. I know you see me, there's something legendary that's in the making. Baby, I'm on it, all you gotta do is be patient. Trust that I'ma win, never lose again. Been losing friends, you think I'm tripping off of what don't make my ends meet? Man, please, I do all of it like it's easy, but I gotta do it so they all believe me. Look, I could break you off and still be steezy. Often I've been leading, cost of being greedy is something that is lost with them being needy. Bet I go, bet I go, bet I go, bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Look, bet I go, bet I go, bet I go, bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Go, crazy. Bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Go, crazy. Bet I go down as one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time.
He hooks himself back in. They want it. Kinsey's not able. It's a pentakill.
Second, they'll find a second. Chippies is on an absolute tear right now.
We got our last game between Direwolves and Pentanet coming up. So if you are just tuning in, don't worry, you only missed probably one of the best games we will get in this regular split of LCO. It was amazing. It was an almost 40-minute banger, back forth, objective trading, team fight, wiping game. I was going to add in another hype up, and I had nothing else. I had nothing else. I am so sorry. I am running out of steam over here.
It was a plushy paradise. It was a dare delight.
A dare delight.
Did I say dare?
Someone did say dare. Fido was like...
you're Fido, mate.
Fido was like, you guys, don't worry. I'll do this out of the kindness of my own heart.
Stop being Direwolves. I'm ready. I'm energized. This is what Dare does. Okay, it makes you win.
Jump into the game. Champ selection started. Oh, wait, it hasn't.
It hasn't yet. It hasn't yet. Before that, we obviously got to tell you guys that you can have your say in who you think is going to win. We've got our Dare fan vote in the top corner above the Dare fridge, actually, all the way over there, right above Fido in that top corner. Yeet! Up there. It's going to be you confusing them at home. Please don't do that again.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
Let's see how the prediction changes. Last time was, what, 65-35, I think, right? For Direwolves. Very Direwolves skewed.
Was that
the first
the
game.
last one? 66-34. Yeah, so you were
34.
right.
So
For some reason, I thought that was the Bliss game, but I think it was more heavily
No,
favored.
it's
Ooh, that's...
We do not talk about that.
No, we don't. No, yeah, that one I thought was going to be a lot closer. I was expecting probably, what, 45, 55 was what I was expecting. That's probably what is going to happen this time around, I'd say, because the sides are the exact same. There's no change up there. Are you still 100% all in on your 2-0 PGG?
Brother Shenfire, win this game. Adopt me, please.
Adopt me!
Okay.
He's looked into the legal work. He has all of the paperwork right here. All you got to do is sign on the bottom line. Please adopt me.
All right, buddy. Time to fly to Perth. See you later. Have fun there. He's gone.
He's ready. He's ready to relocate. He's ready to be adopted. And you're also ready to jump into Champ Select because it's ready for us.
That it certainly is. Then it's time to conclude week number 3 as Direwolves will look to run it back on blue side and showcase maybe something a little bit different, as they've actually decided to ban away the Rakan as a bit of an adaptation this time.
Yeah, double red side for Pentanet. I think that's the first time we've seen it in the LCO. Maybe Vertex did that as well in the first week. We'll see what they have planned out. Last game, definitely not meta champions. Lots of curveballs planned and it worked out for them. So, notably, Zeri is open, Yumi is open. I really hope that this time around they don't give away Zeri and Yumi to the same team because it's just too much threat. First pick.
Well, I'm curious to see where they go. If they do feel like they need to lock
Annie-
in a mid lane
again.
again, I guess they're just going to default to
I don't
that.
know about this one, because it didn't feel like Annie did a whole lot last game, right? The Zeri lock-in, we'll see if it's the Yuumi. We could see a Cassante here as well, because Zeri, Yuumi, Cassante, that is just the holy trinity. Okay,
Sure.
that's the garlic, mayo, and barbecue
Oh,
sauce.
my man knows it's a
That
lot
is
of
it,
snack
mate.
bags.
That is the holy trinity of 13-11, so we'll see.
It's a tasty treat that we're hoping that Pensnet will cook up for us. Let's see if they do decide to go that avenue. They're thinking for a
Yuumi.
hot minute, but
Okay.
Yuumi,
They're afraid of maybe Yuumi Lucian. Don't want to give that away. They are giving up the Cassante here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Direwolves lock in the Cassante or perhaps a jungle pairing with the Annie. We've had a lot of prior on the Wukong. Could be another Wukong game here on the cards for Shaka. And then potentially an 80 carry answer. There we go. The 80 carry answer comes out. Aphelia's nerfed in this patch. Stormrazor is also nerfed in this patch. But still, lots of priority on this champion. We saw in the graphics before, Aphelios, I think, had something like a 40% or sub 40% win rate in our region. So very popular, lots of picks, not much winning.
no, but I do think that period has been at the forefront of when it has been winning. I will give them
Nautilus.
that, right? So going to be excited to see what they can do with the Nautilus pairing as a result, right? That classic case of, you know, who can just carry better?
Yeah, look, Cassante just looks amazing against all of these champions. Can buffer the Nautilus engage. The Annie can't really one-shot him, but I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chippy's last pick because they selected the red side, so they might have a strategy planned for this last pick top. Oh, Incursio.
I got very
They're hovering
excited for a second.
Incursio.
I saw the Malzahar, and I tell you what, that's my favorite champion if I'm playing mid
The
lane.
Ari. Okay, Ari, Annie. Name a more iconic duo. The most classic matchup of mid lane. Push, push, push. I have CC. I can engage. Great. We'll see what they target. Both teams selected the same roles, so really you can ban anything here. You could choose to ban junglers. You could choose to ban tops. For PGG, it makes sense to ban the blind tops. It looks like they want to go for the top R5. And then for Direwolves, I mean, what do? You're thinking about what top do you want to play and what top does Zoranis not want to play against. It's the Olaf to start off.
Well, that's what I'm expecting. I'm kind of expecting them to lean more towards top lane bans as opposed to jungle, because it feels like jungle's a little bit too, not to say solved, but a little bit predictable as opposed to the flexibility that we know that Zoranis and Chippies do have at their disposal to try and influence the map at just a fraction more. Let's see where they do go with this one, because as you say, Cassante and Olaf have to be respected. Second then becomes the Malphite actually being denied away by Chippies of all people. What do Direwolves then say?
Gotta be
needs to
another carry.
removed? I'm thinking Gwen.
Yeah, it could be Gwen. It could be, it depends what they want to play for. The Gwen makes sense if they just want to pick a tank. We saw an amazing game out of Chippies on the Gwen, and Gwen Yuumi, that is disgusting. You kill the Zeri, the Gwen jumps on the Yuumi, the Gwen is open. They've banned the Ornn, so they think that it's going to be an R4 top. Seems really unlikely to me. I feel like this is always going to be a Chippies counter pick, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, looks like the Maokai jungle for Shenfire. We saw this just early in the day. Maokai, Zeri, great pairing. Dog jungler, woof woof. You know, he just skips his camps, goes bot lane, sits there in the bush, recalls, does one camp,
I'm here, guys.
repeats.
You want me to gank? Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a really big wasted ban of the Ornn actually, because this allows Chippies to really play anything. But they have picked the Maokai, so they would have a lot of AP if they go for the Gwen here.
Yes.
So it'd probably have to be something AD. We'll see what he's playing into. The Viego comes out. Interesting. They're playing for the one-shot with the Annie. They think they have enough burst damage to allow Viego to get a reset, but it is pretty hard to burst these champions. You've got a Maokai with a Yuumi, you've got a Zeri and a Slippery Ari. The blind Jax, that would be shocking. It makes sense into the Zeri. You're not opting into the front to back. You want to play some sort of split push, give yourself another way out of the game if the Zeri gets ahead, but blind Jax, I mean, you have to punish this. This should be illegal. There's really no bans.
Which way does he go? Are we thinking Renekton like PCS? Are we thinking like Fiora like LPL? Are we thinking Gwen if you just...
I don't know. Chippies, mate, the world's your oyster.
I'll tell you what though, last time we did see Zoranis play as Jax, sublime, unbelievable. His ability to try and jump into team fights and land, what, like 4-man stuns?
Perfect. Poppy, it's beautiful. I mean, it's so good here. There's so many dashes. Obviously the Annie doesn't have a dash, but the Nautilus, the Viego, the Jax, great pick here. The Poppy, it's not the exact counter, but it plays toward what the Gwen wants to do. It's not an AP champion. You're not overburdening the value of Merc Trades. Again, Poppy, lots of knockups.
Yeah.
Not the highest value Merc Trades game for Direwolves, and the Zeri's going to hurt.
Certainly is. And once again, a game where we are really looking towards the mid laners being the sort of dictators as to who can rotate first, who can link up with their junglers to try and find some ganks on these hyper carries, because once again, that's seemingly what it's all revolving around, right? Aphelios up against Zeri. Last game it was the Jinx Xayah show. It showcased that both did get very, very far ahead. They did the most damage in the game, no surprises there. feels like we're very much par on the course for that again.
Take it back. Merc Shreds are great for Direwolves. But anyway, I think that the problem is they don't really have a dedicated frontline tank, right? Jax is going to be on the sidelines most of the game. Viego, one-shottable. Nautilus. We'll see if he goes Glacial Augment. If he goes Glacial Augment, there is no frontline.
Support economy, yeah.
Absolutely no frontline for Direwolves, so the team fighting is going to be very difficult.
That brings the question in into what are our sort of win conditions that we're playing towards? Is it really as simple as saying that teams need to snowball to caveat the fact that they will be quite squishy or they will lack a traditional frontline?
Yeah, I mean, they do need to shut down the Zeri. If the game is even, the composition for Pentanet.gg is a lot easier to play. They've got the Poppy for the disengage, even if Jax finds a flank angle. Can't dash, and even if somehow he flashes on, he gets knocked out by the Poppy ult. What's the way to burn the Zeri? It really just comes down to the Nautilus ult and the anti-flash stun. That's what has to kill the Zeri in this game. Once Zeri dies, there is no damage. There's a support Ahri, 2 tanks in the top lane, and a Yuumi. So it's all going to be about this Zeri, her positioning. But last game we saw Violet made the game-winning play. So if anybody can do it, it's definitely him.
Well, let's see if that comes to life as we load into our final game then of week number 3. And I hope, Fido, you've had a bit of fun here. You know, trying something different, giving casting a go. You've been an absolute natural at it, I might add.
Yeah, I mean, anything's better than losing. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity.
You didn't have to go that far. Come on. Come on. Either way, let's have a look to see how they start things off here at the level 1 mark. You can see that Pentanet have only found 2 draws so far. Will be hunting for their first victory if they can make it happen. They've broken the curse of losing game 1 and then winning game number 2. Can they close it out in a perfect fashion? You've already mentioned as to how Direwolves can look to try and win this one. There is the pause, eh?
You thought a full day without pauses.
It wouldn't be a cast without a pause, I'll tell you that much.
Not a nice.
We talked about how Direwolves could look to try and win, right? The ability to try and shut down this area. But let's then flip the script and talk about what, you know, the opposition should be looking at. What are Pentanet looking to try and do to try and achieve, you know, the Zeri dream?
Well, you've got Dongi on a comfortable champion. He's played countless RA games. He's looked good on it. He's looked good on it. It's a champion that fits his playstyle, so it's going to be about him getting mid-prio, enabling the Zeri cover, you know, walking bot lane, preventing the dives. We actually saw the game before with Team Bliss against Ground Zero. The Zeri lane managed to win lane into Draven. So even though we're saying that this lane is weak and needs help, maybe just the class of Violet is going to be enough to carry this game.
Let's see if that is what happens as we get ourselves into that laning state. Nothing really seemingly to happen here at a level 1 point to result in any cheeky burnings of summoners that you absolutely adore or any first bloods early on.
Yeah, Glacial Augment for Nautilus. So we've got our answer. There is absolutely no frontline outside of the Jack. So really, it's very execution-based for the side of Direwolves.
Press the attack as well here. Coming
Same strategy.
Yeah.
We saw that in the other game where Arki hooks a minion. Oh no, this is a disaster.
Predator just gets run down.
Yeah, Direwolves hook the creep. It's supposed to be the Nautilus in that bush and the Aphelios in River. That's what a Bliss did at least, and Direwolves tried it the other way around, didn't work out, and now the lane looks a little bit doomed. Aphelios with a call start, so he has absolutely no regen. What you see is what you get on his health bar here.
Yeah, thankfully he does have the red weapon right to life leech up between his minions, right, so it makes it a little bit easier to try and weather the storm. That is a bit of a rough start, but ultimately could upset the tempo of when these weapons get cycled through.
Oh, Violet, just very nice movement. Really nice. Fakes the sidestep to the left, goes to the right, dodges the hook, and that's a really dangerous position. Level 2 to level 1, if he gets hooked there, that's definitely a flash burn.
Making decoy work for him, for sure, right? Making sure that, hey, you might have the upper hand on paper, but in reality, it isn't going to be just, you know, as cut and dry as that.
Then you can't even blame him there. You know, the first hook, okay, we'll let it slide, but that second hook, it was a good hook. It was just very good mind games from the side of PGG. Looks like Shaka invading with this bot wave. We saw that in all the other games. This contest on the jungle cap. Now, the general consensus for my team is that it's totally fine if you're playing Zeri Yuumi. It's totally fine to give this buff. You want to give away the blue buff. If you have to, it's all good if you're playing Maokai. This is the perfect scenario, though, is when you come in, when the buff is half done, and you're sort of saying to Shaka, are you going to use the cooldowns on the buff? If so, I'm going to jump on you, or are you just going to walk away?
Yeah.
Maokai should really be comfortable just giving up this buff. Decides not to do it, a little bit greedy.
Yeah,
hard
he's
fight.
punished for it as a result, though, is the question, and the answer is yes. Surnefire bided his time for as long as he could. Double summoners burnt there by Appy's Yuumi to try and make sure that something actually came of it. Shaka is very low and has nowhere to run away. Is currently transformed to look like a Maokai. Might be able to run away. Dongi now only finally getting a chance to walk into the river. And does he go for the contest? Charms just wide.
Yeah, I mean, Dongi can't really afford to go for the flash stun because the Chaz is nearby and it would be at best a 1-for-1. and really just comes down to Schoenfire. I've seen this situation countless times in my scrims playing with Zeri Yuumi. If the jungler invades you like that, you really just need to give up one camp. You give up the one camp, you regroup together, because what you saw there, the reason why he's losing is just a 1v3. He's by himself, the Zeri can't join him. So give up the one camp, take the Gromp, base, go to top scuttle, it's fine. You're down 4 CS, your Zeri's chilling. All good though, you know, out of everybody on the map, the one person that you can allow to die is your Maokai. It doesn't really change the game. He's still a stun bot. You know, he can still play his role in the game. And curious to see who the kill went on when we get the scoreboard back.
You just want to bring it back to the old days with Maokai when you're building Demonic Embrace, you're doing most damage and saying, hey
love
guys,
that.
junglers do carry actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it looks like, Praetor did get the kill, so that's very nice. That's a good saving grace, and that was much needed for the Direwolves bot lane because they were in a lot of trouble. Down regen in that lane, but this gives them a good reset, an item advantage. We'll see if he can capitalize on it.
Absolutely. A much better start for them in terms of how things paired out in the learning phase game 1. But a question then, just really as you say, as to sort of the sequencing of respect, really as to what the comps are built to achieve, how they can flourish, what they can do, and yeah, how it all comes together.
Yeah, Schoenfire, pathing down bot side. We'll see him spending the majority of the time down in this bot lane, hovering it, allowing the Zeri to be safe. We'll probably see a give on the first dragon from Pentanet. I don't think they're thinking about contesting it just because of his double buff. Cephalios with the item lead, totally fine for them. The interesting part for me is, will they actually choose to contest Rift or prioritize plates on the Zeri?
Certainly what they did in game number 1 was allow Violet to stay in lane as long as possible to get that lead, to get those plates. Whether or not that is the formula for success again. Shaka is going to return to the bot lane. Vision belongs to them right now in this tri-bush. Fight is about to start up. Graviton goes on through, locks and place Violet. Damage as a result is nicely primed with a massive wave stacked. And I mean, grouping up now with Shaka, they can do as they please to maybe punish Schoenfire again. Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a dragon take from Direwolves, but very dangerous there with Violet. You know, when you've got a big wave pushing into you like that, rule 101 of laning is you don't trade on that wave, because even if it's a favorable trade, as long as you're half health, the jungle could just come behind them and dive you. And even if it's a 1-for-1, even if it's a 1-for-2, you lose that wave, you lose the next wave, and overall it's always going to be a net loss for your team. Oh wow, Praetor.
Stop them from showing away, looking for more action though, are they? Praetor gets up to the wave again and says, Violet, you're looking to try and freeze. I won't allow that to happen. Gets told, okay, I'll lose some HP in the process. As we check in with top lane as well, and that's just a case of I want to go back to base.
That's the second time this game where we've seen Violet and Appy be on the same page and Deco and Praetor not. Praetor stepping too far forward when his support is still controlling River, still playing around the dragon. The Tibbers comes out, free money, first strike, just anythings.
Certainly is just anythings, isn't it? It's enough to make sure that you can try and find that small lead when CS is dead equal.
Honey Fruit available though for Dongy. Interested to see if he goes for it. Look for a play mid. It's a little bit dangerous because of Dongy's HP bar. That Honey Fruit would have been the saving grace for Dongy. Would have been full health and Annie no ult. Shaka just controlling bot side of mid. Still hasn't done this dragon. And this is actually quite good. So this is a very, this is a... Personally, I'm not a big fan of these dragons. I think that the time of taking dragon is before 7 minutes, because if you take this dragon later than 7, you really are griefing the Rift Herald timer. You're not going to be able to do Rift Herald on spawn, and Rift Herald is what's going to accelerate the game, right, with the plates. So this dragon is good, it's okay, you know, they're in a position to take it, good. But it does mean that they probably won't do Rift on spawn. So gives more time to PTG.
Affords them more opportunities to not have to, you know, group up as multiple members, right? So... as you quite rightly point out, first dragon does go the way there of Direwolves. Now the Herald is about to spawn, but Chippies has already taken so many aggressive trades that his TP's been burnt on both of these that he actually has to use the ultimate to get them away. Thankfully, it does have the Honey Fruit to regen a little bit.
Look at the danger right now. If Maokai just hits Rift Herald, it is free. His team is losing. He has the scaling comp, but if he knew the Viego greeted for these bot camps, he could have easily soloed the Rift and taken that objective off the map. That's the danger. Fortunately for Direwolves, they don't get punished.
Oh, I think Nat was hot on the money then with the predictions. Look at that, 45 to
55.
Bang
see?
on.
The Twitch chat is listening to me.
She is the prophet. And,
oh, wow, Zoranis, face check.
Zoranis is going to go for the face check, finds himself a Maokai, tries to clear out the vision, jumps back in.
Oh.
Flash done, but Flash is out of it, doesn't deny him from death. But that was kind of cute there for a second by Zoranis, but it just was not enough.
Just a tiny bit too early, and that's unbelievable. They have 4 people on this side of the map. Ari was stuck mid.
Yeah.
It was a 4v2 in River, and they managed to lose a player. Disaster. for Direwolves. Huge amount of resources dedicated to this top side of the map. Zoranus, no ult now. Chippy still has ult, so Shermfire feels comfortable starting this Rift Herald. Although I'm not sure if he can.
I don't think he
A
does.
little bit suspect, mate.
Chippy has gone back to base
Yeah,
now,
mate.
and he's got no TP, as we've already mentioned. Direwolves are going to converge in this one and say, what business do you have doing this solo?
Yeah, I think Poppy could not recall there if Shermfire wanted to start the Rift Herald, but I mean, look at the amount of time that they're spending with Aphelios around this objective. The Zeri's just free farming.
And
There's
once
no
again,
contest. Yeah,
exactly
same as the other game.
The exact question you asked, what will they do with Violet? He's just happy farming, freezing, and denying Praetor of any kind of impact here. Forced to group up as 5. Out goes the Nature's Grasp.
Wow,
I think really for me right now, it's a case of PGG buying their time, wasting Direwolves' time.
What?
They find a kill. They isolate out Decoy. They try and go for the Rift Herald. It is going to be secured here by Zoranus, but they get a kill, and you still got Zeri free farming. I think it's a net overall positive.
And look at the most important part, is that as soon as this play is over, they go to the mid wave and they don't allow the players of Direwolves to just run bot, right? This Zeri gets an extra wave, an extra play because they're cutting them off. And I would have liked to see that instead of this fight. You know, this is very ambitious, but they are relying on the Poppy Hammer to make it a 4v4. The Maokai ult comes out. Nautilus, we talked about a Glacial Augment. Very squishy, dies instantly. Pops out, I think it was Annie that got popped out. Perfect person as well. That's the counter engage there. Out of the fight. Clean 1-0 for Direwolves, for PGG.
Massive win. Up by 22 CS now is Violet as a result. And yeah, a lot of gold from those plates acquired too, right? So if we were to check in with the total gold, I'm sure you're going to be very happy with the fact that you can say, sure, you know, Aphelios, get your first blood, but now I'm on top.
Okay, how does Poppy... Zeri just got 3 plates and Poppy's the one that has a bounty. That's a little suspect. He does have 2 kills, but I'm not sure if I agree with the algorithm about that one. Yeah, top lane, really great champion, Diffuser, Poppy against the Jax, because every time Jax wants to come up to this tower, not sure if he's running Demolish, but if he wants to hit the tower, he can't really jump out. So every time he tries to aggress for the tower, he's going to lose a significant chunk of his health.
Direwolves grouped up again though, and they're looking to try and see what they can do to try and, well, at least keep PGG at bay. No objective to fight for just yet, 90 seconds, and they can look for their second dragon of the game. But curious to see which way we would go towards this next objective, if Direwolves feel like that is their win condition to try and play for.
Yeah, both sides of the river controlled by Direwolves right now, so I'm not expecting to see too much from PGG. They're just happy scaling up. They've got the better draft in terms of front to back, and that's what they're playing for right now. The game looks good. It's interesting to see if Chaz can find an opportunity to flash ult someone. Generally, you don't really think about flash as an ability that you should use on repeat, on cooldown, but if you haven't used your flash on Annie for 10-15 minutes, that's potentially 3 flashes you could have had, right? So Annie is the type of champion where whenever you have flash, you want to tell your teammates, hey, I want to group up, I want to invade, I want to control something, get some sort of an advantage with it.
It's that fine line between flashing for the sake of flashing, but also saying, I'm finding opportunities, I'm creating opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, you can find opportunities in the next game. That's a bit too...
I'm holding flash for next
too
game.
long.
It's like the classic meme, isn't it, right? So look to see what can happen as a result.
Another
Hook goes
hook.
completely sideways as Violet looks to try and edge a bit of damage in that trade taking place.
Has a single hook landed this game?
A 1. From what I've seen in the bot lane at least.
He's playing Zeri as well. You know, if this was solo queue, this guy would get reported for sticking, without a doubt.
In goes
And
the
a dive.
fight. There is the Nature's Grasp. There is the final chap to lock them under tower. And Decoy, ever so
Decoy.
squishy, says, I can't do much more than that. I've popped my shield, but I have been preyed upon.
He really wishes he had Aftershock this game. You know, that's a situation where he could have probably lived. That is the life of a supporter. Nautilus have been in a budget economy. You know, you just get focused, sent to the grave.
Would be your
PGG.
Nautilus though. I mean, if that was a mid lane Nautilus, different story, wouldn't it, mate?
Oh, mate, if it was mid lane Nautilus, I would find a way to die, trust me. I've played it in scrims, and then my coach banned it, basically. He said, you're not allowed to play it anymore. I don't think you're comfortable with Nautilus. And there it is.
Well, I think surely your ego took a bit of a hit after that, eh? Like,
Absolutely.
You're far out.
Or maybe I was sabotaging intentionally, just not to play the Nautilus.
Big brain, mate.
got him.
Let me stay on Azir and Cassiopeia. Oh no,
Thank
I
you.
can't play Nautilus. What a tragedy.
That's a wall, that's not a champion.
Oh well, it
My bad.
happens.
Okay, so Dragon going the way of Direwolves, and this is a really good rule of thumb for any lower teams is if you lose the first Dragon, just don't contest the second Dragon. It means absolutely nothing. You're probably down in gold, so try and get some gold back, try and make a play somewhere else on the map. But it looks like Direwolves are winning both sides. A Rift Herald summoned pop, a Dragon secured, so that's both sides of the map kind of going in the favor of Direwolves.
You're going to be very happy with that as to try and be a sort of equalizing factor. As you can see, 30 minutes into this game, the gold is dead even between these two teams. but it's about where that gold is, you know, felt, right? And we already talked about how strong Violet is in comparison there to Praetor, but, you know, elsewhere across the map, it's the fact that, you know, I think Trippy's is holding his own.
Yeah, Chippy's doing a great job, has finished his item, and it feels like this Jax was supposed to be a win con, but hasn't really come online. There's no progress on that top tower apart from the plates going with the Rift Herald, and this Poppy is a perfect R5 neutralizing pick.
Speaking of, does get a bit of damage thrown towards them, but not enough to really upset the balance. We talked about the Proto Belt in game number 1. It is going to get locked in here game number 2, right?
Proto
So
Belt.
even more, you know, advantageous opportunities to try and flash or Rocket Belt in. They're going to run back the same play in bot lane with Schönfire rocking up and saying, let's see if we can get a kill a second time, but not to be.
Just so much pressure. This Zeri up 26 CS, 27 CS.
Dongy goes for the hook, rather Decoy goes for the hook onto Dongy. Dongy actually gets the kill as Chaz is forced to flash defensively. Not what you want to see. Protobelt burnt. Tib is, well, not there to come out to play. Yep. It's looking to try and kite Dongy, who can just spirit rush to safety. And in they go again. Shaka saying, let's have a crack at it. Heart breaks out defensively. Dival's on the reset, but they're trying to bait in Zoranist, who says, I'm here now. What? PGG feeling strong. Chippies gets the kill. What is going on? He's just going to run away. Swing the hammer. Flash goes Zoranist. Okay. And he finally gets his shot down.
Oh my god, Chippies, that was some crazy gameplay. Fade away W, and then the second procs, fade away Q, and then the second proc.
Good stopwatch.
Kills him. Dongy should be okay. Dongy's on.
Uh-oh.
He's dead.
Ramped up, and he's gone.
Well, Zoranist putting on his carry pants. We were just talking about how the Jax hasn't really found a game, and finds the flank TP there, gets the perfect angle, 2 kills, and don't forget the shutdown on the Poppy as well, so that's a huge amount of gold in the Jax's pockets. And if there's one champion here that can beat Zeri, it's Jax.
So yes, let's run it back at the replay. It all starts with Decoy just getting aggro.
The hook lands, finally, Decoy dies instantly, as always, Zeri jumps away. Chaz getting focused, good Tibbers. This Tibbers is doing a lot of AoE damage. Chippies gets him late to the fight, hasn't used any abilities here. He's just kind of running around. And Shaka getting the call from Zordis that he's TPing behind to extend the fight. He goes in, he goes out, he buys time. And Violet says, see you guys, I'm out of here. And Chippy somehow gets a fadeaway kill on Shaka. Don't know how that's possible. Forces out even the Zoranist flash. I mean, Chippies is just milking everything he can from this situation.
He really was, but I think Zoranist must have had the beat drop in his music because he certainly went psycho mode on that play. He's like, we're going to win. Fighters told me that I'm not carrying. I'm going to carry right here and now. Gets the double, gets the shutdown, gets himself right back into a position of power. Now the only person himself with a bounty. And maybe a chance for Direwolf to feel strong as a result. Once again, Caster Curse is real. You say a praise, you give a compliment, and remember, will fall on down. Someone is living for as long as possible, but not long enough.
Violet.
Praetor finds 2 before he gets taken on down. Violet says, I can do you 1 more better. Double doubles for literally everybody. We're all getting on the action to try and take down 2, as it results in Chaz trying to remove Chippies and our very first ace of the game.
Yeah, just another flank from Direwolves, right? This time it's actually Chaz's Annie to come in clutch. Very late play, and that late in the fight, you're not really thinking about this Protobelt Annie with everything still available coming in. They clumped up, 3-man Tibbers, and yeah, cleans up the fight. Good fight for Direwolves. It did not look great with Zoranist taking so much damage, but somehow he lives. So many heals, so much sustain. I'm curious to see where it's from. So the Charm lands, perfect pick. Maokai W just a little bit too late, trying to layer the CC too hard, and allows Zoranist to jump back to his team, live a little longer, and the resets from Shaka coming in as well, getting all these new abilities, spamming them out. I think he's turned into 4 different people this fight, and Chippy is left alone at the end. Can't really do much, but the MVP definitely Chaz, arriving precisely when they need him.
A great fight for them, a huge win overall, and a chance to try and create some space between the 2 overall as to who should be looking to take game number 2 now. You've seen that they've been the team that picked up back-to-back Dragons. Perfect timing now for them to look at their 3rd, 20 seconds on that one.
Interesting item build. We've got the components for Void stuff as well as a stopwatch. I think this is not a rune, this is just a 750 stopwatch. So Chaz not as strong as he could be with these 2 purchases against the likes of a Zeri, against the likes of a Maokai with the cooldown boots. Shermfire, nothing to be here. Secures the scuttle, and these saplings are just so annoying from Maokai. This is what makes him such an impressive champion in competitive. It's just free wards that can't be cleared, that are so safe to throw into bushes. PGG surrendering control of the mid-wave, looking for this dragon, but there's a flank from Zoranist.
There certainly is, and there's multiple members now without a flash. PGG have grouped up but are going to get flanked left and right. Chippies look to try and scout out where the Jax could be. The Dragon gets lower, it's down to 3k. Dival's starting to square up, they're starting to get closer. It does get secured, they deny the third Dragon. PGG now looking to try and fight and win more. They've got their Dragon, they've got their kill, they've got their reset, they've found it onto Decoy. Violet says, I've found two now. Jumps across the wall, looks to find a few more. Locks down Zoranus, he leaps away to safety. Shaka's not there to protect him. Out goes the Moonlight Vigil, doesn't do enough. Triple kill found, looking for more. Charm connects, Predator next. There's the Quadra, we're looking for another. Pentakill! We've got them! And I don't believe it, we've had 2 pentakills in such a short space of time.
It's overloaded. The server's done, it's come crashing down. The game can't handle Violet.
Oh no, how anticlimactic, the most insane moment. It's like, pause the game right now.
That's when you know. When the player sinks back in their seat, that's when that's a sign of desperation. I've done that many, many times. And yeah, what a team fight. And it looked perfect for Direwolves. They had the Zoranus flank. They had control of the mid-wave. The Rift pushing the mid-wave. If they want a team fight there, that Rift, they could easily get an inhibitor. 3 towers inhib, everything. But they lose the fight, and nothing happens. It's a pentakill for Zeri, and now the game is looking grim.
Now, I've got the communication from production as to what's happened here, and supposedly, what's happened, kind of comical, but kind of understandable at the same time. Appy got so excited about that pentakill, he knocked over his computer. So they needed a moment to get themselves all connected and run back into it. But let's run it back with this replay. Like, how phenomenal is that?
So Zoranus waiting a little bit too long and gets marked by Pop. He gets knocked out. That's what we talked about. And the fight, Zeri's just free hitting. I think he's taken 0 damage. He's just hitting, stacking, stacking, stacking. No focus on the Zeri. You can't win the game if you don't focus the Zeri. And then it's just a cleanup. You know, we've all seen these Zeri clips where she just keeps jumping over walls. Keeps hitting, gets the region. Very close here from Shaka. I think that would have killed him. Because of the shield, I think it would have ignored the shield and actually just executed him there.
Wow, a hair's breadth away from denying the perfect play, the pentakill.
Is that how it works? Viego? If there's a shield, does it ignore the shield because it's an execute?
I've need to fact check. I've need to double check.
Anyway, yeah, now the game feels very hard. That was perfect. You can't ask for more there. You've got the Jax flank, right? You've got the inner track on mid lane. You've got the 5v5 that you wanted. But now it's just...
Look at the total gold, though. In a league of his own, isn't he?
10.5k. Not even close.
8-1-3, 1k shutdown, gets a pentakill, and just says, that's what you sign up for when you go ultraviolet.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is he didn't even use Flash that fight. It's about to come up now, and Zeri with Flash and Yuumi, how do you catch this? Okay, Chaz, but this is the build coming in. It does no damage, mate.
Yeah.
You've got a stopwatch, you've got a blasting wand.
Forced to spread a better way. Violet rocks up and says you're going to be forced to flash now. Oh, good natured grasp block. But I suppose the question now becomes, it was looking like Direwolves looking to try and pull away. Still, the gold is very close between both teams. But you know, how do Direwolves get themselves back into this one, knowing that Zeri is unleashed?
Just let Jax play the game, really. It just needs to be Jax killing Poppy on the side somehow, taking a tower. Maybe you bring one extra person here. You need a TP flank from Zoranus. That's the only way you can kill this Zeri. And right now, with no flash on your Annie, I don't think it's possible to team fight.
I already mentioned how squishy their engage would be and that it would be you know, no traditional frontline as such. So side laning is going to be of paramount importance to that point. Is it going to be really then a case of sacrificing these objectives, knowing that you know, your opposition would want to group up, would want to entertain the idea of, yeah, come fight us?
Yeah, I mean, the next dragon is for sure gone. Direwolves need to think about what can they trade for this dragon. Can they get control of an area? Can they get a pick on a single hero just to stall the game out a little bit and wait for the anti-flash? Because right now, look at the inventory for Direwolves. You've got a broken stopwatch on Viego. I hope that is from Runes, because if that's a 750 gold, yeah, that's 1500 gold, the 2 broken stopwatches that just do nothing. So the effective gold value for Direwolves is a lot lower than what the score screen says right now. And the Baron start, this is quite cheeky from Pentanet. It feels like there's no reason to do it. This is the only way to throw the game, but they feel like they have enough control of the area to force a fight. This definitely has to be a turn from Pentanet.
Yeah, they feel strong enough and they forced out Direwolves. Zoranus is TP'd up. The Baron is down to 40% right now. Shaka's already disengaged away. Violet is low, he's being knocked up, he's being taken on down. He's very low, he's not dead just yet, but finally falls victim to Decoy, who's the only one that you probably didn't want to give that shutdown to. Chippy then says, all right, Chaz, you won't get to play the game. And prayed if it's full HP, red and white, you certainly don't fight. It doesn't matter how fed your opposition are. And Aphelios gets to stand and deliver. He's going to run down Chippies. It's going to take a hot minute, though. Look at the items that this, you know, Poppy has. But Dire must have done the unthinkable.
Yeah, I mean, I just said that's the only way you can lose the game, right? You're starting your dragon. Who does damage to Baron here? I mean, Maokai Q does some damage. Let's see how this fight goes. 5k, there's just no way that they have enough damage to burn at a time. They have to turn, but Schönfire is just too invested in hitting this Baron. He's very late to the fight, not able to CC the targets in time, and Zeri takes too much damage. Great anti-ult, and he's doing damage this whole time as well. And then once this comes down to sort of a 2v3, 3v3, that's where the Jax thrives, right? So
I think quietly, the Praetor positioning
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
start of
Praetor,
that one, he's
of course.
coming in on a flank, and
Yep.
he's like, you're not going to touch me. You're also stuck on the ramp inside the Baron pit. That I just get the free fire.
yeah. So PGG, they just need to play to control the map. Now Violet's finished his third item. That wasn't there in that fight. That's a lot of extra survivability. He did use his flash though, so interesting to see. I mean, this game going slower paced favors PGG. Direwolves, they can pull the trigger right now. They have flashes on AD and jungle. They're baiting out the Baron. See, Direwolves Baron is actually quite fast, so PGG do need to be worried about this. They have no more blue trinkets left to cycle.
Have they
It
spotted
might
this
be
one?
gone.
I think they don't even have a chance.
It's gone.
Schönfire's looking at it, but it's too little too late. Shaka's confirmed that the Baron is taking the DPS. It's just too much to bear.
And they haven't been able to take the Dragon in return, so there's just going to be another fight at Dragon. PGG have the inner track, maybe Zornus. Zornus no TP. Okay, nothing's going to happen in this Dragon. Zornus just catching top waves, playing for tempo. We'll see a reset from Direwolves, spend their gold, but this really is the best case scenario. This is the best part of the game for Direwolves. There's not much wave clear, right? You've got Dongi with Everfrost Banshees. He doesn't kill the wave. You've got Violet, but he can't be in 3 lanes at the same time. So there's always going to be at least one lane vulnerable, at least one lane for Zornus to try and get structure damage in.
So the onus really is now on Direwolves to set themselves up correctly with this Baron buff, Philip to try and play and pressure and force PGG to say, well, we can't be in all those lanes as you've just highlighted at once. So what are we, willing to sacrifice with that Baron buff they've acquired?
Yeah, and it's probably just going to have to be these bot 2 towers. I think these are the towers that Direwolves are eyeing right now. If they go mid, that would be very cheeky. Thank you, Direwolves. They did not make the mistake that PGG made. They're going for the free gold, the towers that are closer to your base and harder for the enemy to defend.
Zoranus though will have to show a little bit of restraint though if his team
I like
is
this.
completely opposite side of the map, not
Yep.
to take too many risks.
This is a danger. So if you're playing for 1, it's always better to play for 1 in adjacent lanes because otherwise there's just, they control that one side of the map and your 1 can't really do anything. This whole jungle is dark for Zornus, so he feels very uncomfortable. He's forced to sort of take his own jungle caps, maybe grab the mid wave that's pushing in. But PGG are out of position for this bot tower. It looks like they're going to base race.
Well, it certainly looks to be that case where it's like,
Trade
well,
one
what is
tower.
Jax going to do
Okay.
against us? We're just going to trade 1 for 1. You can see a
Yep.
lot of vision went down there from PGG. Could have anticipated in the rotation. They're going to take the very safe avenue, the whole way around to defend their tier 2 as opposed
What
to
the
falling
TP?
to the trap.
I did, okay. Oh, Decoy is very aggressive. The hook.
He's on.
He's in Narnia.
He wants to find his play, but his team's nowhere near to try and back him up right now. TP goes out, but Decoy's already dead. He has seen a play so beyond our years that we couldn't even begin to understand.
Yeah, I think Dongi must be a Jedi because that was some mind control. He TP's in on a dead tower. Why would he do that if his team's not behind him? But Deco goes in anyway. So I guess a good bait from Dongi. Not sure how it worked, but it did, and that buys a lot of time for Direwolves. 40 seconds for PGG. 40 seconds left on this Baron buff, so there's going to be nothing else they can take in terms of structures.
Managed to get the freebies like you wanted to see them get, which was those
Yep.
2 towers. They've managed to make sure that Zoranus didn't die in the process of that split push pressure. So he's had to take an L, and at least being there as a mobile ward, if you will, to say, hey, they're in mid lane right now. I know where their next rotation is going to be, but ultimately it's a big denial away from PGG from squaring up and sieging themselves.
Yeah, no, PGG with the correct response there. Schönfire, the big brain, coming in. They move mid. They force the threaten the base race, right? So the Jax can't keep going top lane because of the threat of getting caught. He goes to the mid wave. They still get 1 tower. They've accepted, okay, we're going to lose these 2 bot towers. Let's at least trade something for it. Violet, feeling comfortable in this mid wave. Both Tums, Yuumi, Jerry
And a
Gaming.
stopwatch now.
And the stopwatch. Violet, thank you, my friend. That's just... This is the pivotal point of the game. This is the point of the game where dying, you can just lose your Nexus, or at least get a double inhib. So stopwatch, such a high value item. Love to see it. Would love to see Schönfire pick one up eventually as well. What is Dongi building? I guess he's building into the... Oh, here we go.
Morelos perhaps, that's what we're looking to try and see, as Violet is literally running at them without a fear in the world. There goes the final chapter, there goes the Moonlight Vigil, trading big abilities so far to deny them of sieging up and squaring up here more than anything in the mid lane. Notably, Jax is still top. They've committed members towards this one. Now they're frantically running. Okay, do we go back top? But Direwolves are running them down.
Yeah, but thankfully there's no towers for Direwolves to take. So really it's just PGG feeling very confident. I mean, look at the gold lead. It's 3k for Direwolves, but PGG are the ones who are sieging the enemy base. And I guess they've just recognized that, hey, we've got the 5v5 comp. Even if we're down gold, we're still going to play the way that we wanted to play. Push down mid, force the Jax to either come or they take a 4v5 fight. I don't mind it. It's a good play from PGG. And buying time as well, right, for the next objective. As long as they're pressuring mid like this, there's always a chance that they could move up to the Jax, the Poppy will chase him, not allow him to TP out, and there's threat on the side lane. So I think that neutralizing the Jax is something they've done very well this game.
They certainly have. They've made sure that his impact hasn't been as strong as it has been in the past, for sure. I will bring your attention to some of the item builds that have just come across. Some item spikes. Schoenfei's just gone for the Demonic Embrace, trying to help accent their AP damage, given it was very much reliant on Dongi, who's gone for a much more supportive style build. You've seen Violet also just rush that stopwatch straight away into a Guardian Angel.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here for Zoranus is he's playing split push, but he opted for the Zhonya's build, which is more of a teamfight Jax, something that I've seen built a lot on jungle Jax, right? You jump in, it gives you the AP ratio of your W and your ult, but it doesn't really help with the split push because he has no sustain. You see the Poppy takes a trade, he's still full health, but Jax is losing a quarter, losing a quarter, losing a quarter, and eventually he just gets out-sustained in that lane.
Yeah, we'd love to see a Ravenous Hydra or something on the likes come across.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously
maybe.
even more, you know, cleave. Oh yeah, for sure, the Bork, you know, shred these tanks even easier, right? So what are the two? But I suppose it almost screams to him that, like, I would love to split push, but it kind of feels like it's inevitable that I do need to group up a team fight.
Feels like he's playing for that TP flank angle, not for the split push win con. No hull breaker as well, that would be another item we'd see if he's playing for the split push. So the dragon's been started, not really a crucial dragon worth losing the game over. PGG have great positioning, there's no flank angles right now. Zoranus is looking for one, but there's an escape route going up for PGG.
Everybody's here, and Zoranus right now is betting in from the left. Chaz with everything, has a flash, has a stun, has the ability to try and make something happen. They go for the dragon, it's found by PGG, that's 3 back-to-back Ocean Dragons on their side. Schoenfei's still alive, but Imperative snipes them from far. Moonlight Vigil's done its job. Shaka is still alive, as is Decoy, but by just a hair's breadth. What a knockback, what a stun, what a collision. As they lock down the Philios, Shaka across the wall is running for his life. Decoy on a hair's breadth says, here, have one more hook. Shaka says, I'll take you, I'll get you. I'll reset and I'll replay and I'll shut down to get themselves an ace.
Yeah, I mean, I just said PGG, that dragon, not worth losing the game over, and they said, hold my beer, you know? They went for the fight, it looked very good. I want to just highlight Chippy's doing a great job that whole fight, just marking the Jax, not allowing him to join the fight. But eventually, once he got knocked out, the Jax just TP'd back in and got another entrance into the fight. We'll see what they can get with this. I don't think the game is over. Schoenfei's up. Should just be the one inhib. But this is a painful loss because the bot lane is the one that you don't want to be down with Baron being up, right? Because that's the lane that you can't really attend to. Mid, perfectly fine. You're always just walking through mid anyway. Let's see this fight. So look, keep your eyes on Chippy's. Perfect zoning from Chippy's on Zoranus. And what I would have loved to see Chippy's do is not ult him away so early. He's definitely not thinking about this possibility of him coming back with the teleport. Actually, okay. Yeah, the fight looks good. It's a front to back. Violet's heading. It is a winning fight. Praetor does die, but it's just this late teleport when there's no cooldowns left on PGG. Jax jumps in, has the counter-strike, easy kill, flashes to secure it. And the biggest thing, that's the GA down. So that's 5 minutes no GA. Baron is up. How do you contest this as PGG?
You just see how hard it is for both AD carries to try and play in these fights with the amount of you know, individuals looking to pounce upon them and make their life a little bit of a living misery.
Very dangerous for PGG. I think it's okay. If you can get a pick at this Baron, great, but you don't need to suicide for it. If it looks bad, just leave it. You've got the 3 dragons, right? What is this Baron going to get for Direwolves? You know, it might get that in the tower, but on a base siege, the best thing about a base siege is that you can't get flanked, you know, because you're in your base. Sure. So that's still a fight that PGG can take. So I don't think they should stress about this too much. Maybe go for a steal, maybe look for a pick, but it's not worth dying over.
But I think they start this up first and foremost to at least bait Dongi to have to TP up, try and commit. He's
Dongi
holding his tongue
late
for a long time. He's going to finally go for the TP. They disengage away. The Nature's Grasp is also burnt.
Yep.
And I think like Direwolves are just very happy with the amount of tools and resources burnt. Just a bait.
Yeah, I mean, if they started again, what do you do as PGG? That's your main engage all gone. There's no Poppy flank. It looks like they're going top, but this is just going to be a base race, and I dare say PGG win it.
They're conflicted. They're in two different minds, aren't they? We can't go through mid. We have to respond top, but they've fallen into a trap of Direwolves. Chaz lands a 3-man Tippers and easily removes Dongi, who didn't have a chance to flash nor hit barrier.
The flank.
Zoranus, look at him go. Counter-strike onto 3. Violet can just dash across the wall, hit the lightning crash, try to go overdrive once again. Knocked back is Chaz. In there goes again, though, looking for more action. Zoranis has found himself a kill. He's found himself a little bit more. It really is Yuumi Zeri against the world, and they have to shy away.
Yeah, the positioning was just so hard there. You're walking into Fog of War, into an Annie that could be in every single bush. It just didn't work out for PGG there. Great play from Direwolves to go for that top wave instead of trying to re-enter mid, trying to start the Baron. They just say, hey, if you don't come to us, we're going to take your base. Yeah, and Dongi leading the way. He feels confident. He does have the Banshee's Veil, but it's the Smite that breaks his Banshees, and then he's very vulnerable to the Annie engage. And once the 1 kill goes down, you've got Shaka taking the form of Annie and Zoranis on the perfect flank. Could not go better here for Direwolves. Actually, this ult is extremely bad for PGG because Viego had no buttons left. He's just there. He's free food for Zeri. That's another free kill, but gets knocked out. Unfortunate. Unfortunate execution for PGG.
Certainly is, and it could have gone from bad to worse if that fight had been deliberated any much longer, because that wave in the bot lane was about to crash towards those Nexus turrets to cause them a second real major concern as to, hang on a minute, our base is actually about to fall for free. Direwolves now up by 7,000 gold, feeling very happy about this one. And look, I feel like it's inevitable now. 40 seconds, the final soul, or the final dragon that would give PGG an Ocean Soul with 4 to their name.
Yeah, I don't think PGG can walk out of their base for this one. They've got an inhib down. There's a Baron buff on the opponent. You lose one fight, even if it's a close one, even if you have a few people left because of the Baron buff, it will just be the end of the game. So PGG will try their best to turtle. Direwolves, this is a free dragon. The question is, how much more can they get?
As you say, they are certainly commanding the respect of their opposition and saying, you can't step up. We draw the line right here. Obviously, vision becoming even more apparent now as to, well, are you even going to dare leave your base? Because if you do, Zoranis continues to split push. He's got TP, as does Chippies.
Yeah, Zeri feels confident. He's saying, guys, I have 6 items. My GA's up in 10-15 seconds. We can take this fight. Chaz with a perfect angle on Violet.
Feels like it's enough. Yeah,
no
GA.
GA.
One shot.
10 seconds GA.
He's living, but just barely as he runs away and life leeches up with that bloodthirsty. He has literally just acquired. The bruises in the top lane are not going to be deterred. They're fighting their own fight, quite honestly.
PGG are getting away with murder. I mean, that is a game-losing play. Contesting that dragon with no vision, when you're losing the top 1v1 as well, and they luckily don't lose the Zeri for it. If the Zeri dies there, I think that Dai will just end the game.
And I tell you what, he's trying his hardest. I mean, we've had
He
Flame
is.
Horizon after
He
Flame
is.
Horizon.
He's
Look at
confident.
this one, up by another 100 CS in that bot lane.
No static shift.
No static shift though. That is
It's
worth
fair.
noting. That is all pure skill.
Pure skill, absolutely. So yeah, look, Direwolves equalize the dragons, but the Baron power play is just about over. So the game, whilst you could say 7,000 lead for Direwolves, it's in a pretty even state. Zeri has GA. That's the crucial point here. No reset available on the Zeri QSS.
Uh-oh. Decoy's found himself a wall, and now he's found himself a grave. Violet's the one to pick that one up. Burst into life with the lightning crash going on out. Both AD carries so far the ones to try and make this one work in their favor, but then both are going to disengage away and say, that's enough. Let's not get too overexcited.
Yeah, jungle for support. You always take that for Direwolves, and very late TP from Chippies. I think he just didn't really have a ward there. Maybe if Appy could have placed a better ward, they could have kept fighting there. But yeah, overall, great from Direwolves. They get a pick. Unfortunately, don't think they can siege anything here. Just get control of the mid wave, play some deep vision, and reset and spend their gold. All the jungle camps are up as well, so it'd be great to see Direwolves just come out of base, cycle those so it's not wasted. And the next objective is definitely going to be the Baron on the map. And honestly, even this Ocean Soul, it's not a huge deal for either team. Definitely a bigger deal for PGG. I think PGG are the team with a lot of sustain, the healing, the front line. So for them, that extra region actually matters. But for Direwolves, I think even if Direwolves get an Ocean Soul here, there's still a way back in for PGG.
Short, sharp, explosive fights for Direwolves, right? As opposed to rather than
yeah.
PGG looking to try and, extend it and run you down in a sort of protracted occasion.
This is something that lower teams don't do. And it's just recognizing that, hey, okay, it's very likely that they've reset. We can control out. This is the time where even if we're down in gold, we can get back into this jungle. We can place our wards. We've got the jump, the numbers advantage to establish some sort of control of the map. Because if you can't control that topside jungle, you're never walking to Baron. Pushing up mid, a siege seems very unlikely to profit anything. It's just about containing the players of PGG, sniping away these jungle camps, and really allowing the Jacks to feel safe on the side lane.
See right now, Praetor is farming up an absolute storm bin hand, spoon-fed as much of it as he can be. Not too far away, you'd have to imagine, from getting a Bloodthirst of his own to match the 6-item power that is the Zeri.
I mean, you wanted a banger. This is another banger. We've got 6 dragons.
It's going to 40 minutes again.
Very
guaranteed.
likely to get 7, yep. And it's really hard to say who's going to win this game. I mean, Direwolves, they have the QSS on Viego, something we didn't touch about, and that's not really a target for the Maokai or the Ari to engage on. You know, the Jax has the Zhonyas. You can't pick those really. The only person you can pick on this Direwolves team is the Annie, and it is the Aphelios. So.
And I suppose returning back to the Zoranus point as well, I mean, you asked for, would we get a Ravenous Hydra, would we get a Blade of King? He's gone for the Spear of Shojin, wants more damage, wants more carry potential. You know, maybe final item, you go even further into that inventory, Wits End, let's just go full damage.
Full team fight, yeah.
Right, so...
Yeah, full team fight. And I mean, with this build, he does have a lot of AD. He breaks the base very fast. So if he ever finds Chippies TPing into a fight and just goes hammer the base, the game just ends in the favor of Direwolves.
Worth noting that Shaka's also picked himself up a QSS, realizes that his work is cut out for him. He can't afford to be CC to try and find those resets, which is, I think, is a nice little acquisition here, but tech.
Yeah, and Maokai's so very poor this game. Just doesn't have anything. A Kindle Gem, a broken stopwatch, an even shroud, which costs like 2,200. He's definitely playing on a budget here, hoping that Zeri can carry him the whole way.
Yeah, what a tragedy it would be if Violet were to get a pentakill and then they were to end up losing this match.
I would love to see Zeri actually buy a magic resist item here instead of boots, perhaps the Wit's End, something like that. I feel like the only way that Zeri can really die here is on a flash Annie stun. The Zoranus flank just shouldn't do enough damage to kill him. And Direwolves great position here. Zoranus just controlling that bush. That's great. He doesn't show, he just stays there, puts the pressure. This is something a lot of players do wrong. They pull the trigger too early, but just him being there and having his cooldowns is threatening PGG.
Well, here we go, Fido. This could be the final fight in this game. 39 minutes into this one. It's the Baron right here and right now. Chess has flashed across the wall. He's dropped the Tibbers. He's found what he's after, but both Eddie Carries are the first ones to get in. They've knocked back Jax. He's gone from the fight, but both Eddie Carries are still alive. They're fighting for their absolute hearts. There goes the GA. There is the revive as he respawns. He gets stunned and taken on down. Massive shutdown there by Shaka, as they just had a clear plan. They didn't mess around, and they delete the Baron to end this game.
There you go. That's Baron buff gone. It is a 2v3. Does the game end here is the real question, or is this just going to be a double inhib? There is a soul coming up in 30 seconds. Direwolves might opt to play this one slow. I don't think they can add this 20 seconds on Malka, but there is no damage. There is no damage on the side of PGG. How do they actually clear this wave?
Do they go for the end, or do they go for the double inhibitors?
They're looking for the end.
They're still pushing. They're still hunting.
Oh,
Chippies is going to try to proxy as much as he can, right? Draw
so
them away.
by
But still, these turrets are getting shredded.
What?
Even without the minion buff.
There's no minions.
They're going for the end. It's 40 minutes in. They want the draw. 1-for-1. That's what they're going to get. It doesn't matter if you get a pentakill. They still lost the match, Fido. And it is such a personal defeat there for Violet. But for the series as a whole, we wanted a banger. We got a banger. 2 40-minute fiestas and a tie on the night.
Yeah, and it could have been a 2-0 in either direction. I was wrong, I'll admit it. The teams are about as dead even as you can get. And congratulations to Direwolves for that win. Definitely, when you play a close series like this, it feels very bad to walk away with nothing. I think that they would probably go back thinking to themselves, this could have been a 2-0, but you take what you can get.
You certainly do, and it does, you know, add another layer of, you know, just how close and how evenly matched is this league going into Split 2 right now. We're seeing upsets happen, we're seeing close affairs between, you know, rivals of old go at it one more time, and I mean, guys, come on. I mean, when we get the pentakill, I thought, okay, there's a bit of a good luck charm here with Fido. You know, player power says, yeah, mate, I'm here. You better impress me. It happens, and then you lose.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think you just take it, and you're like, yeah, but we got a pentakill, bro. We got a pentakill. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can still slip one that one, you know, in the highlights. You get a little bit of show reel for yourself, and you go, yeah, this is what I'm capable of. It was a lot of fun to watch, hands down, this whole game, all the way from the pentakill. But the way that Direwolves could hold and defend was probably one of the things I was most impressed about. They needed to buy time for their lineup, for their team comp to come online, and they did just that, Dajong.
Yeah, like, after that pentakill, I mean, it's like one of those Zeri Yumi moments, right? You get a pentakill, your whole team's like, oh, game's over, right? Zeri's unkillable, but Direwolves really held on well. They really kept trading, no one's getting picked, and that one pick on Violet when he had the 1k shutdown went to Nautilus, the worst person to get it. But even then, they kept hanging on, they kept making plays that were good for them, and they ended up pulling back into this game and just winning.
Just comes down to that unnecessary Baron, right? That they kind of turned the whole game around, where they're still waiting for this third item on Zeri, and really they're in control of the game. And surprisingly enough, I've been praising the macro for PG. So excited. I've been praising the macro for PGG, but it was the Direwolves' ability to choose the correct fights that actually won the game.
I want to know what the console like is. Like, bro, he just knocked over his PC.
He's just cracking. I was like, bro, what did you do?
He's literally fully disconnected. I love it. Great reactions there. I feel like we've been spoiled for games, spoiled for player reactions tonight. But is this one of the very rare cases where you sit back and you're like, they should have been more aggressive? I never thought we'd say that about an LCO team, but they actually should have been more aggressive and not taken their foot off of the gas.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they kind of slowed down the game a little bit.
Oh, this is my
Okay.
Drinking can. Yeah.
Hydro homies, make sure you guys take a sip and make sure you're refreshed and hydrated.
Yeah, I think there's just too many things that happen in this game to pinpoint it on one aspect, right? There's too many fights that just back and forth. This team's winning, now this team is winning. Surely they can't lose, they've lost. You know, like, it was a back and forth game. I think it's probably very exciting to play games like these because everybody kind of had their star moment. You know, we saw the Zoranus moments, we saw a Chippy's moment, we saw a Violet moment, Praedyth in that one fight at the Baron. So yeah, just that's the kind of league that you want to watch.
It feels like the kind of series where you almost want a best of 5, where it's like, all right, let's see if we can really whittle this down to who gets exhausted first, or who runs out of drafts and, you know, preparation, or whatever it may be first, because yeah, it's so evenly matched.
I was looking forward to this graph. I wanted to know what the damage dealt by each champion, each player was going to be. We thought the Zeri damage was going to be miles above the rest of her team, but actually not that much. What's an 8k difference between Zeri and Poppy there, so maybe towards the end of the game just really teetering off, getting picked off quite early in team fights as well, that she wasn't able to pump out the damage that she needed.
Yeah, I think what's most surprising is the Aphelios. Like, he was top of the charts by far, which is really surprising. Like, we see the Zeri pentakill with all eyes on Zeri. Every fight is Zeri dead or alive? But Aphelios is really sneakily doing a lot of damage every single fight, really scaling into that one. I think Fido was talking about how he's 100 CS down, right? You would assume that like his damage output would be a lot lower, but I think with all the focus that's on Zeri and all the peeling and stuff, I think Aphelios would really free hit and do so much destruction during the fights.
I also think Chaz had a much stronger performance in Game 2 on the Annie compared to Game 1. Actually felt a lot more impactful. I feel like the Tibbers were definitely getting their justice, right? You know, just blindly. I mean, there was that one fight where they're fighting at Baron. He's by like the enemy red buff. He just flashes blindly across the wall. He's like, I'm going to be here, guys. There's no surprise about it. I'm here for the Tibbers. So,
yeah,
great game.
just game-winning moments from him. It was a quiet laning phase, a quiet game. Didn't get that, you know, the top damage numbers, but it was 2 game-winning moments from the 3-man Tibbers in that sort of top side skirmish where he cleaned it up. And then when PGG were retaking their top side, they were at threat of that tier 2 top. They walked in, any stun on the Ahri, and the fights won.
Everyone had their showings. Everyone really played up. But let's hear from our players themselves. Let's have a bit of a chat. We've got Zoranus on the line here. Hey, Zoranus, how are you feeling? Even though it was a draw, is there a lot of hype over how close the games were?
Oh, I don't know. When you're in the game, you don't feel that hype. It's like the game's just close. Like the enemy 80's got a pentakill, but still managed to lose the game. I don't know. I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, when that pentakill happened, like, what's going through your mind? Like, please, like, verbatim, tell me what the cones are like when you're just like, oh, man, how do we get back into this one?
Look, I think everyone's kind of thinking in their heads, oh, man, we gave this guy a pentakill after all this trash talk. But in reality, like, everyone's just trying to comp what we can do next, how to get back into the game, and trying to keep the spreads up.
Yeah, look, you guys did a fantastic job. What was the idea? What was the goal to be able to get yourselves back in? Obviously, you were able to do it, but what was that? All right, let's all just band together. What was the main focus?
Pretty much, we just said, look, Zeri's the most fed member on their team. Let's just all dive this guy and kill him.
Nice.
I like you just jump on it, just dogpile onto it. Anything you want to ask, Dajong?
Just honestly on your emotional state, right? Like, just looking back on the games, Game 1, you guys get Elder Dragon, you lose the game. Game 2, enemy 80 Penta, they lose the game. Like, what is happening there?
Look, honestly, I have no idea. My ADC just got a bit too excited and ran into all the feathers and decided to die. I don't know. Like, the game just never feels over till it's really over in these sorts of games.
Yeah, you guys were very closely matched. The other thing I want to touch on is this red side that comes out from Pentnet. Was it something that you guys had in your mind was going to happen as soon as you knew that you were coming up against them? Or was that also still a little bit of a coin flip where you weren't really sure what they were going to pick?
It was somewhat surprising to us that they actually chose red side on the day. I think most people would generally agree that blue side's more overpowered with all the overpowered picks. So I thought maybe they'd come into it with some weird counter picks prepared, but they seemed to pick very like standard, mostly scaling all across the board, which I thought was quite interesting. So we definitely weren't expecting it.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a question for Zorinus as well, mate. How are you?
Thanks.
I'm interested to see who made that call at the Baron when you guys decided to go for their top tier 2 tower. Annie was camping in that bush and you got a very favorable engage.
I believe that was Praedith. I'm not entirely sure. The game was a long one. I can't remember.
Well, there you go. We'll give the props to Praedith. That was a 200 IQ call.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions we have. Zorinus, congratulations on the draw here, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
See ya. Yeah, I honestly, I don't think I could remember. If you asked me about a specific call in 2 40-minute games, I'd be like, brother, what? Which game? We played Annie twice?
It's the exact same as us casting, and you say, what's your play today? And I say, I don't even know what happened today. I don't even remember. I'm sure you feel
Did
the
we
same
even
in a way.
actually win the game? Like,
the games just go on and on and on. It's like,
I
I think
agree,
back to game 1. It's like, what happened in game 1? Who even played? Oh, yeah, Ground Zero. Oh, yeah, what happened in that game? Oh, I don't even know anymore.
After those 2 games, like, literally the only thing I remember at the Ground Zero Blisters is Static Shiv LB. That's the
Static
only
Shiv
thing I
LB.
remember. The only thing I remember. What happened in game 1?
We've aged
Did
10
that
years
happen?
since then.
every day is another 10 years. But it is nice to know a little bit more about what happens during certain plays, because you're like, is this something that they've tried and tried and tried? Like, they knew that this was something that was going to work for themselves, or is it a heat of the moment? Hey, I have this inkling, let's do it. So Praedith's kind of coming in clutch. If that was him, we're going to have to give it to him, because that's the only information that we have that really turned that Direwolves, that game into a Direwolves victory. And PGG having a lot of moments for themselves with it. Did you guys have someone that really stood out? We're not up to MVPs, but I'm going to poke and prod you anyway for who really stood out for you.
I mean, I personally liked how Zorinus played in both games. I think he played really well. I think his movements were really clean. He was always there for the fights that was needed in. He was split pushing really hard, always putting pressure. I think in both 2 games, I think I'll choose Zorinus.
Damn, okay. Well, we got our other interview. We got someone from PGG on the line. We got Violet joining us here, the man himself. Violet! Congrats on the pentakill is what I'm going to say. Commiserations about the loss off the back of it, though. What really happened? What was the defining moment in the change that went from you guys being on top with the pentakill to not winning that game?
I mean, to be honest, I think our team fighting was just bad. Like, after, like, we got the pentakill, like, our team fighting was, as a team, was just pretty bad. And I'm pretty sure I inted, like, 2-3 fights in a row, and the game was just very difficult on that point onwards, because we just threw a lot of gold and they got Baron, and they were just able to snowball better than us.
Yeah, it is a bit hard when your enemy gets a lot of kills like that. In game 1, though, there was still a lot of exchange, a lot of back and forth when it came to these team fights. So what was the ultimate nail in the coffin where you guys were able to take these team fights? Because there was a moment that wasn't looking so great for you in game 1.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought game 1 was pretty much like, I thought we had lost the game because their comp was like much easier to execute than ours, but their AD carry just ended up like running into our like engage and running into me like multiple times. So like that was probably like the main reason why we won, I'd say.
The Una reverse, they did it in game 1 and then you guys did it in game 2 for them, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
No script, I promise. There's definitely not a script.
I mean, I just wanted to ask, like, for those plays in game 1, right? I feel like it was very flipped. Game 1 was very Praedith 1v9. If you kill him, you guys win. And then the second game was you're the opposite side. You kill what you call it? They win the fight. How do you come into these situations, and what do you say to your team when you're either side of this matchup?
I mean, I don't think I calm anything different in particular when it comes to like team fighting and stuff. I usually just calm who I'm hitting, and whether it's a kite back or not is usually like how I calm when we play these team fights out against the enemy team.
Do you think Direwolves is your most evenly matched rivals as well? Or are there some other teams out there that you're like, we might have 40-minute games like this. We might end up having a lot more draws that look as close as the series did?
Right now, if I'm being completely honest, no. I'd say Chiefs and Team Bliss are at the top, and there's like a pretty clear gap between those two and the rest of the league right now, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. Well, do you guys want to ask Violet anything as
Oh,
well?
I have to ask Violet, mate.
Okay.
Okay, you get your pentakill,
knew
you're
it.
absolutely smurfing, you're just space gliding across the map, and I'm like, oh my god, it's absolutely happening. Ultraviolet has come back to play. But then what happened with Appy? Instant pulls, all the tension gone. I see you cracking up in the camera. Mate, what's he done? Is he pressing like heal too hard on Yumi?
Yeah, I think after I got the pentakill, I think he jumped out of his chair and he pulled a cord or something, and his PC just shut down.
Look, it happens on the big jobs. Fair enough, hey, it's a big occasion.
We were all definitely cheering for you as well when you got that penta. But Violet, we'll let you go. We'll let you celebrate the draw and the pentakill, of course. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
See ya. I love it.
There you have it.
Just jumped up, pulled out the power supply.
The Yumi players, Bulldog and Appy, one's just vibing and Appy's just throwing his
He's
computer.
not even playing. He's not even literally there anymore.
He's like, I can disconnect.
My
we
job
can
is
win
done.
from here. We can win from here, boys. Wrap it
Yumi
up.
bot will play for me now.
It's so unfortunate. I could see like Violet coming into this interview. I'm like, I already feel so bad with this first question I'm gonna ask. But bro, lost at the back of a pentakill.
Feels bad.
Very
Feels
bittersweet.
bad.
Yeah, bittersweet. You've already given me who you thought was going to be MVP, by the way. So now I'm going to give Bido, Skimmy, your chance to tell me who is MVP. Who's getting that award? Because it was a draw, it could be any of the 10 players.
Got to be happy. I mean, that Yumi gameplay seemed very hard.
Sure.
He took his hands off the wheel and it still drove. You know,
It's still drunk.
He's unplugged his
Absolutely
computer
fine.
and
No, it's got to be
still
Violet.
absolutely.
It's got to be Violet, right?
Okay.
Game 1, game-winning play to save the game. Game 2, almost carried the team. Made some mistakes, sure, but we're all only human, you know.
Yeah. So you think Violet, you think Zoranus?
Yeah, I'll go Violet.
Violet as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like all three of you guys are going to be wrong. But we'll see. Oh, okay. It was Violet.
The pentakill.
Skimmy's like, yeah, I'm just riding on the coattails of Fido over here. That's a great KDA, 19, 7, 15, 87%
87.
kill. He has an insane kill participation
crazy.
across this league. Like 87 today. Week 1, he had like 96% kill
exactly that.
participation.
Literally.
This man's 85 plus.
Literally, whether he is, a kill will happen. The team,
Yeah.
it feels as if they are so reliant on him, or they build around him, right? Like as you say, the fact that you can be 95% as an 80 carry is kind of crazy. You know, you're usually looking at that being like a jungler statistic or even a support statistic more so than anything, sort of dictating the pace of the game. So to be that high as an 80 carry, it's just like, okay, you're that fed and farmed, and even in cases where he's not even there, right? Like he's just AFK farming bot lane, getting turret plates, and he's just like, don't fight without me, because when I will rock up, we will win.
When I get there, we just kill them all. And
Yeah.
he practically does do that better MVPs. I don't know if I even have to ask you guys this question. So I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to count to 3. And at that point, we're all going to say
Okay.
what we think is going to be the play of the day, okay?
Okay.
So what do you think is going to be the play of the day? You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Static
Violet
Shiv.
pentakill.
Pentakill.
Sorry?
Static Shiv. Just put the icon completely zoomed in.
Get him off the card.
Remove it,
Boom.
please.
Static Shiv. Wee woo.
Static
Wee
Shiv.
woo.
No.
Wingardium Leviosa. Oh, you're dead. Oh, that's
Yeah, I'm going to say you're wrong, Skim.
Okay.
I love the energy. I
Awesome.
do believe, though, our play of the day is going to be
Fair
Violet's pentakill. Let's run it back. Let's see it again. This is it. Fido, we've heard your analysis all day, but you want to get the play-by-play chance?
Okay, Violet's hitting. Zeri is hitting. She's still hitting. Zeri
It's still hitting.
is still hitting.
Still hitting.
The champions are all dying, and patch 13.12 will be our saving grace.
God bless you. 3.
Yes. Tons of damage, indeed. This does look like.
And she's still
yes,
hitting.
she's still
and
hitting.
She did a final hit.
And a
And she
penta.
hit. And
And
it went
now
hip, hip,
the pause.
hooray.
She went
Yes!
hip, hip, hooray,
Let's go!
unplug that
Wait,
PC.
Appy, where are you? I said you disconnected. Huh? That's exactly verbatim. There you go.
That's it, word for word. You read his lips.
I read his lips.
Fido, fantastic play-by-play. I loved it, mate. You have a future in solo casting over there. Analyst,
My job's
play-by-play.
not safe. I'm
Wow.
gone.
What
I'm
can't
coming.
he do? What can't he do?
I can't win LCO games, apparently.
I didn't say it, he did.
Hey, my man loves the self-depreciating humor. I'm about it. Hey,
Yeah?
respect.
I love it. You can never take yourself too seriously, but let's take a look at our series standings because that will let us know. Bliss, after today, yes, they've been playing 3 series for themselves, only 2 points behind the Chiefs, who are in first place with 9. The Dire Wolves, Pentanet Ground, 0, Mammoth Kenga, Vertex, and a big representation of what Violet just said in his interview there, that you have Chiefs and Bliss at the top, and there is that pretty big gap, not just in points, but potentially skill as well with the rest of the league, who are quite close, only 1 or 2 points between everyone.
Still early days though, right? I mean, obviously for Direwolves,
Yeah.
they've had a little bit of a variety bucket, a win, loss, and a draw there, so they're not going to be too upset, I'm sure. Maybe a case of like, you know, it just depends on the team we go up against on the day. Pentnet though, draws across the board. I'm sure they're not going to be too happy about that at the end of the day, especially with the result here tonight, despite, you know, it was a very entertaining one for everybody at home to spectate. I mean, yeah, for sure, Chiefs and Bliss are going to be a bit of a league of their own. I'm just really curious to see what happens when they fight up against each other once again.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the team, it's a big rustle now to see, okay, who gets fourth. That's what I'm really honed in on, and to see where that goes.
Well, do you know how the draw system works? If 2 teams have the same points and the same head-to-head, who is there tiebreakers, or how does that work?
You know, I had this exact conversation at the start of the split, and then I wrote a note to myself that said, ask when it matters. And that's what we go by. It's a need-to-know basis. I can't actually give you that information, Fido.
Understandable.
I have no idea.
We're not paid enough for that, mate.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That's above our pay grade.
I was going to say, we've got so many more weeks before that really happens. I'll ask, like, at the end of the regular season.
Nice.
But it will be an interesting one. This is going to be our schedule for next Monday. Direwolves up against Kenga. I don't know if we have any predictions on that one on the catch at all. And then Mammoth up against Ground Zero. Also not sure if anyone could really predict that one. Hey, Doug.
Mammoth.
I'm sure the boys can talk us through exactly what's going to happen. All right, Fido, what's going to happen against Direwolves?
Well, Ryze has been buffed, so I will lock in Ryze. I will go bot lane, and we will win the game.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
Awesome.
And then, Dajong, what are you guys going to do on Mammoth?
I pick Shiv LB, we win the game.
Facts.
My man's about it.
He was like, wow, I didn't know the insane power of Shivalblanc.
Speaks a bit of Korean, goes, all right, I will now become Daystar as well, and we will just win games now.
I have spoken to him. We have now merged. We are now one brain cell as mid laners, and I will pick what Daystar picks.
Yeah, I'll just ring up J-Star. Also, what do I do here? Oh, okay. Okay. Just individual coaching.
Awesome.
Maybe I could just be in my ear during the game.
True.
Yes.
Live translation.
Shiv.
Dang.
He's like, harder, just run at him, just run at him.
Just run.
Oh, you think you're gonna die? Just keep running at him. Just keep running at him. It's been fantastic having you guys on the card. Absolutely loved your casting today, Fido. We're gonna close out the show though, so before we do, anything you want to share? Are you gonna be back on this couch?
Hopefully I'll be back to winning ways next week.
That's what I wanted to hear, Dajong. It's been great to have you beside me as well. You've enjoyed your time as analyst, breaking down all of the pro plays that we saw.
Been super fun watching every single game. Yeah, I hope this happens again.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's been a joy to have you guys here with me. It's been a joy to have you guys in chat as well. I hope you've enjoyed our week 3 of LCO. We'll see you back on Monday for week number 4 of LCO Split 2.
Bye. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. What is their play? Emphasis splitting the rest of the team. Skeleton goes into Arcade. That's what they can find. Gooby also looking to try and say, what is my play? In jumps Daystar, finds the charm, gets exhausted. Whirling Axe goes out. Nature's Grasp locks them down. Damage is being found, but kills are going the way of Bliss. They found 2 so far. The Dragon, forget about it. A distant afterfall. 3 members dead. Wukong is squishy, but he does big damage. He's done a double. Lived as fond as he is a...
LeBlanc, Ari, this is emphasis.
5 right now. Too deterred by that one. Injunction by knocks off his call of the forge got Silence Band 1. They remove the jungler. The Baron is so low. It's a flip and it's a kill. And it's Predator dead again to Violet. It does not matter how fit the Jinx is.
It's him, officer. It was him. We have the evidence.
3K. Direwolves starting to square up. They're starting to get closer. It does get secured. They deny the third dragon. PGD now looking to try and fight and win more. They've got their dragon. They've got their kill. They've got their reset. They found it onto Decoy. Violet says, I found 2 now. Jumps across the wall. Looks to find a few more. Locks down Jonas. He leaps away to safety. Shaka's not there to protect him. Out goes the Moonlight Vigil. Doesn't do enough. Triple kill found. Looking for more. Charm connects. Predator. There's the Quadra. We're looking for another. Back up!